night off. Now, you know what I said yesterday? I thought he was looking particularly stressed. You know?
But this guy...
And he did a really bad show.
...has messed with the police's investigation. Terribly. Terribly.
This is where he's at.
And now I've gone fuzzy.
This is really good.
Okay.
This
is
really
so we're not
good.
Going to get that.
Age 37.
This is Alan's show from yesterday.
She was...
It goes buffering.
Oh, Fox News, man.
Obviously got the microphone behind him. You can hear the stress in his voice.
Okay, so we're not going to get that. And now I've gone fuzzy.
He went out of focus, look.
What is that about? Let's see if I can clean...
Can you fix the focus by cleaning the lens?
That's a better Armchair Detective. Right.
It did seem to fix it.
So what else can we find out?
The funny thing about that is next time he goes out of focus, he will assume it's because the lens is dirty again, because that did seem to fix it. But he does seem particularly stressed, and he's wearing, ladies, like someone pointed out to me in a comment, you think he's in his PJs? I've never seen a low slung neck like that on a male. Like, we just looked at a character in Engaged Impact who's androgynous. You can wear what you want these days. I'm not critiquing it on that. You know, I'm not saying, oh, he looks gay. What I'm saying is that is ladies' clothes, isn't it? Like, whether he got it from a charity shop or, like, what is the cut on the collar about? I've never seen a t-shirt with a collar cut like that, unless it's a low-cut top with a blouse that's like ladies. It's not V-neck though, is it? Because it's round. It's weird. It looks like a blouse. I wouldn't put it past Alan to just accidentally buy ladies' clothes. Just be wearing them. You know. You have seen a man wearing something similar. You don't understand it. Okay, maybe it's fashion then. I've never seen it in my life. If I'd worn a t-shirt like that to school, people would have ripped the piss out of me and said, what's going on with your neckline? Why is your collar like that? You're wearing your mom's blouse? And I'm not, like, you know, being petty and homophobic or anything, or even dissing some people. Like, everyone can wear what they want, really. Like, I don't really care, but it's just a strange choice for Alan, and, like, it's a strange look. He looks dishevelled. He said the other day about how you have to look good for the camera. He looks dishevelled. He does not look like he's shaved, but the filter is smoothing it out, but you see that grey around his chin, like it's smoothing it out to a grey tone because he hasn't shaved. So he looks rough in this broadcast yesterday, and this is particularly good. This is particularly good.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. I didn't know I was late. I thought I was live. I've been sat here talking to myself. Crazy old man. I take it you can see me now, can't you? It's a good job Nosy Nana's not about, isn't it? I'm in big trouble. Wow.
So he said that he'd been live, but he didn't realise it wasn't live. So he spent the first 15 minutes of his show with this background he gets from the stock off the internet that annoys me because the chair is up behind him, so it looks like he's sat on the floor. Like, why is there a chair in your background? And the mic now looks like part of the background too. Poor Alan spent the first part of his stream talking to no one, not going live by accident. We've all done it as streamers in some way or another, made mistakes, on mute, you know, this and that. But for Alan, regularly, and now for me, yeah, sit down, open up the, for Alan it's a different program, but open up the program, turn on the camera, do the light. It's like a routine. And so for his routine to have been messed up, what did he do? Not press go live. Not press go live. Why would you not press go live? How would you not assume that you're live? Why would you not think, you know, or does somebody else do that for him? He was half an hour late, says Kate. I thought it was 15 minutes. I did half an hour late. It made me think that maybe that was an excuse, and that maybe he hadn't been sat there talking to nobody. Although it's a strange excuse, because it makes it, the thing about the excuse is it makes him look like, number one, he was there on time. So, sorry I'm late, but I wasn't late. And then number two, it would be that it's a technical mistake. You know, I don't know how it messed up. It's not my fault. You know, very narcissistic way to pass off. instead of saying I made a mistake and it was my fault, but he has kind of said I made a mistake and it was my fault. So I don't know where to place it. Is it a lie to cover up the fact that he was just like sleeping on the sofa and just woke up, or is he having a few drinks and got away late, or and also he was broadcasting last night at like 10 o'clock, 10:15, 10:30 by the time it came on. Why is the camera moist? I don't think is the camera moist. I don't think it is, but he's got a filter on for sure. But yeah, for him to be late at 10:30 at night, what are you doing? Like, why are you not streaming earlier in the evening? Obviously because of the Americans, you want to overlap with the Americans, but why? Oh, he rubbed it clean. Yeah, it wasn't. It was out of focus, and he thought that out of focus was caused by stuff on the lens. He didn't realise that focus was caused by the camera focusing. But yeah, maybe it was moist. But yeah, it's a really weird thing. Like, I wouldn't expect him as a narcissist to admit that he'd made a mistake and just been sat there like an idiot. But maybe that's because that's the easiest line to tell, rather than I was asleep on the sofa, or I didn't get in the house until 10 o'clock, so I was still at the pub, or you know what I mean? Like, big ups. And I can't read that. Alison, I'll say. Listen. Dog lawyer in court says proof. Good one.
Well, I'm here now, anyway.
I'm here now,
Sorry
anyway.
for the delay. I didn't know there was one.
Sorry for the day. I didn't know there was one, you see. So that's like, it's not my fault.
Anyway.
Okay,
so let's get on.
And it makes me imagine that what we missed for those first 15 minutes or 20 minutes, it makes me imagine that if he was not on the internet but thought he was, he usually starts with his rant, the Armchair Detective, I'm a big chuffer and they've got stalkers and, this and that. And then he gets into the content. So I think maybe this time we just got straight into the content. Dover and Dolly's mom says she thinks he was wasted the whole episode. So yeah, maybe he was just drunk and I think that maybe if Alan, because 10 o'clock at night is a long night. Most of us, and Alan does get up in the morning, posts on his, well, maybe he wakes up in the morning, I don't know, get up, but he posts on his community posts in the morning, doesn't he? And he was doing that ASMR at like 10 o'clock watching the cricket. So I've got every expectation that Alan will get up in the morning, conduct a whole day of whatever the fuck he does, because he doesn't do research. They hand him to this stuff on a plate through the community group. He'd never he's not doing research. He'd never seen any of this stuff that he's about to read on his show yesterday. He'd never seen any of it. It was like the first time he'd read it, or the first time he'd heard this woman's name. So I wonder what he's doing all day. But if it does involve drinking, then I imagine by about 10 o'clock he's shattered and falls asleep on the sofa. I imagine if he has a bit more than he expects, he feels drowsy and has to have a nap. So,
Then, because I'm late, right? So
you think he does sniffies? I don't know if we've had a bit of a chat about this in the past, maybe a bit, but I don't know if he does sniff stuff, because he's like, if he was, I think I don't see all of the signs of someone high on sniff, but I wouldn't put it past him for him to be around it of his time. He'd probably see it as quite a glamorous thing and think it was glamorous. I mean, this was awful, because this woman looks like, talking of glamorous, this woman that got murdered.
I've been very selective in the crimes I've done lately. I don't feel that I want to cover crimes that involve murdered children much.
Because we go on about it being a feature of your content that makes you look like a creepy pedo. And here he's drinking from the glass. Not the glass of water, maybe, because like the bottles of water that he likes, but this is the glass, isn't it? The tumbler. And does he take a big draught? No, just a little tiny sip, and
that's why I didn't
that one goes across the teeth. So that's hard liquor in that glass, isn't it?
do Summer Wales. I didn't do the case of the 3 children shot in front of their mother.
And you didn't do the case of these children that I don't know about, but you know about. So you're obviously looking at it behind the scenes, even if you didn't do the case. So it doesn't mean anything that you don't do it on the internet anymore. You're still interested in it.
Because a bit like being a man, you can't really be a primary school teacher. Being a man, I can't really do crime, murders of children, because people will say I enjoy it. I don't enjoy it.
Men can do primary school teaching and enjoy it and not be pedos. Yeah? Like, I could 100% be a primary school teacher and be proud of it. It doesn't. I just would have no worry about the people thinking I was a pedo because I'm not a pedo. But for Alan, he doesn't enjoy it. He doesn't enjoy it. He's not enjoyed the last 5 years going on about these murdered children, laughing, singing songs. He doesn't enjoy it.
Crime, murders of children, because people will say I enjoy it. I don't enjoy it, right? John Bennett Ramsey, Madeline McCann, these are cases I've covered, but now it seems I'm not allowed to.
Well, Alan, you're allowed to do whatever you want.
So, in protest, I've been singing songs.
In protest? I didn't know this was a protest. I didn't realise these songs were in protest of you being silenced on YouTube because you look like a pedo. And it seems a weird protest because the whole thing, you know, Nonskate came about for me because I discovered him singing songs with kids on Smule. And then after I discovered that information, did some digging around, all this other stuff backed it up from his history. So bit strange that you would use the singing of the songs, which is a reminder of the thing that you did that made you look like a pedo. But yeah.
Just in protest, I've been, if you notice, I've been doing a lot of singing songs lately to show that I've been disarmed. Totally disarmed. No, but today we've got a case I can cover.
Disarmed?
A poor girl, 37.
37, poor girl. You can cover this because, unlike the murders of the kids and stuff, this won't make you look like you're creepy. You know, this won't make him look like he's getting off on the murder of, like, you know, young kids or beautiful women or, you know, stuff. Do you know what I mean? It won't make him look creepy. So I think that I think he hasn't seen this before, and that the spanners have lined this up for him, and then when he puts it up on the screen he thinks, hang on, this doesn't make me look any better because this woman looks like the sort of type of woman that I would like to murder and shag. It's just, I think it's a bad choice again. Like, for that description at the start, the reason I'm not covering certain cases is because people think I glorify and get something out, you know, I'm getting off on it. Like the Idaho 4 murders, there were 4 young, was it 4 or 3? I don't know, young girls, and all their pictures of them in their bikinis at college parties and all that, you know, all downloaded to his hard drive to make thumbnails, no doubt.
Year old who obviously has been brutally murdered and left naked for dead in a drain in America.
Naked, you say?
And it's a very sad case that's captured the world. Rachel Morin is just 37, a mother of 5, who went missing along a popular Maryland hiking trail on Saturday, August the 5th.
In fact, yeah, he does sound a bit drunk, doesn't he? Like, slurry his words.
Before being brutally murdered. At that time.
At that time, the way he reads it like that, because he, you know, reading sentences he's never read before, so he hasn't got a feel for them.
He's a fitness enthusiast.
And the way, this is really funny as well, the way he picks out a piece of information, like it says she likes running, and he changes it slightly to, he's Alan, he likes to dress things up and make, like, you know, it was Nicola Bully, third-hand information that got discounted by the police, had a, what was it? It was a confrontation, or there was a word used on the path, and then Alan changed it to altercation, like made it more, glamorized it up. Dover and Dolly's mom doesn't say that. We don't say Maryland, we say Maryland.
She does a lot of jogging, a lot of trekking.
A lot of jogging and trekking.
A lot of hiking.
And the way he, like, relays this to you, like, this is an important note, take this note, you know, Alan's got the facts, but he's just learned this fact just now.
A lot of sunbeds, and she does a lot with her body, which you're going to see later.
She does a lot with her body?
Now, she
is a body now, isn't she? Because she's dead, sorry.
Had multiple dating apps, and it always worries me, like the girls on Delphi Bridge, that these dating apps can track you where you are, right? It will say so-and-so is in whatever town they're in.
I don't think the dating apps can track you where you are necessarily. I mean, you can do location on them and stuff, but they don't give you like a pinpoint, don't they? But yeah, it might say what town you're in, depending on how you use the app.
What if she was tracked down? What if she was followed?
Oh, Dover and Dolly's mom. She doesn't do tanning beds, she does spray tans.
A very pretty girl.
A very pretty girl.
Poor woman.
Poor woman. So now she's not a little pretty girl, she's a poor woman. Remembering to... He said the thing, and he thought, that doesn't sound right. I better say poor woman instead. You know, like... See what I mean? She's 37. It's a safe case to do. Now she's a pretty little girl. So... What were you saying about not wanting to do cases about little girls because it makes you look bad? But the way you contextualise this one about a young woman is that she's a pretty little girl. I added pretty.
So,
Sorry,
Community
little.
volunteers scoured the woods and police. Michael Drabinsky, can't pronounce it,
Can't pronounce it.
found her body and said that he and a relative discovered her body in a tunnel drain.
That's not right though, is it, Alan? That later got found out to be not quite right, but yeah.
She had suffered severe head trauma, and it seems this had come from a rock.
It seems this had come from a rock.
A bloody rock was in the area,
A bloody rock was in the area. He has just read off the internet.
he said. So he found the body, he was with his relation, and he found her, and he found the rock.
See what the way he's doing this, like, these are the facts of the case. But he doesn't know any facts. He's getting third hand through the media and doesn't really know anything about this. And you can see in his face, there's like a level of panic in this. Like, he knows he's not doing a good job today.
Now, he told the local TV station, I saw a terrible mess. There's not going to be an open casket, I can guarantee that.
That's horrible.
Now, Sheriff Jeffrey Garland said the investigators are not ruling out the idea that Morin's killer could have been a random event. I don't think it was a random event.
Well, the police just said they're not ruling out the fact that... They're not ruling it out, but it could be not a random... Like, so you don't think... Why do you not think it? Because you're sat at home reading the newspaper for the first time.
Already,
He likes to conjure conspiracy and mystery.
from what I've been studying today,
From what I've been studying today, meaning you have not done anything. You've just read what they've just sent you.
there was another woman seemingly murdered only 50 miles away from here 2 weeks before. Same sort of trail. Police have not identified a suspect. So,
His eyes did look like they were going a bit
who
there.
she is. This is the...
Let's show you who she is. And here she is in... I mean, I don't know about this. After someone's died, maybe their fitness photos are not the really... I don't know how it exactly works in America. Maybe this is her favourite photo that was her profile photo. Maybe that's the most appropriate photo. Maybe that's the one the family sent to the media. But her in her short top fitness photo, there's a little bit of sexual energy about it, isn't there? There's a little bit of sauce about it. And that's right up Allen Street, I guess. Isn't it?
young lady in question.
Other exes that we know of, Gigi?
I believe there are a few
And we get the
exes
news.
from the past that I'm sure they're looking into at this point. Anybody, I'm sure her phone is going to be a big source of information. Who did she
And
last
more of these
contact before she went
pictures.
to...
And I'm just going to pause this because look, more of these pictures. Again, I don't know how appropriate that is for someone who's just been murdered to have her photographs of this nature. Today's day and age, she might have been a fitness model. You know, that might have been her job, and she might have wanted that picture to be at a funeral. I don't know, but I just feel it's a little bit. And then Alan is watching this. Like, this is Alan who just said he didn't want to do certain cases because of the way it made him look like a creep, and he's watching this, and he's been researching this today. You know, when he does his research, probably downloading the pictures, obviously, for his research. Do you know what I mean? Just feels a bit grotty, doesn't it?
the trail? Location pings. Did she go somewhere before? That kind of thing. And also, what's interesting is
Alan's
this
having
trail
a good watch of this. Having a good watch.
head backs up right to an apartment complex. It's literally in the parking lot of an apartment complex. I looked on Google Maps and zoomed in. I can't tell if they're lights or surveillance cameras.
I didn't realise we were going to do this now. I feel like we should carry on watching this and just taking it apart. But
I'm interested to see what kind of surveillance they have.
we're going to
It's
skip on
interesting
through
to me,
the
Brian,
news,
to
yeah?
be made with this risk potential
This in the middle of nowhere. Is it sort of a curse? Ah, poor girl.
potentially by opening that trail if you think this person is still at large.
Of course, a young woman looking like this in the middle of nowhere.
A young woman looking like this in the middle of nowhere. What's he trying to say? It's funny with Alan because he'll make a little comment then he won't elaborate, so it falls to me to do so. But I would say that women, right? Women are not victims because of the way they dress. They don't make themselves victims because of the way they dress. It's not their fault. Victim shaming in any way because of the way someone dresses. Oh, but that's just the way men are, you know. Men do not rape people because they see some tits. Yeah, good men don't go out and do rapes because they saw some tits. It's not that wearing certain clothes or being sexy means that you're opening yourself up to be raped and or murdered in this case. And it's not that, like, you know, men who do murders are tantalized by these women and therefore just go off and do the murders. Do you know what I mean? I just think, like, what the fuck are you saying, Alan? Like it's nearly victim shaming, but you kind of pull it back from the brink. But it's nearly victim shaming. But what you're also saying, as a man, is that, you know, woman like that on her own out in the park, well, you know, we all know what you're saying, Alan. But me personally, I don't see a jogger going past and think, oh, I could rape her. Like, it's just, what? I'm surprised that thought crossed your head in this way, Alan. But it definitely did, and you definitely said it. So, you know, good work on your stream here.
Is it sort of a
Charge.
Of course, a young woman looking like this in the middle of nowhere. Is it sort of a curse? Ah, poor girl. Was she followed?
You mentioned looking at the Google Map images when we were talking about
And back to the news.
the trail. It's almost like a board.
Thank you for what?
So,
The news finishes. He's cautious now with the news. He cuts them off. They do a little bit of back and forth, and then he cuts them off. I think he's found out that in the news studio, gets away with it, but the news do a reel and a thing, and that doesn't go so well for him. So them talking to each other, he's quite prepared to cut in, but the other bit, not so much.
that's the young lady. Say she's got left behind 5 children.
The thing about being late because he's playing poker, like he plays poker every day, and he plays it live on stream. So I'm surprised that he would be late to the stream. You know, like, why be late to the stream? Why not just do what you normally do?
Now, the police opened up the trail again the next day. I find that sort of like, do they know more than they're telling us?
Does he play one news clip twice? Oh, I always skip the news, so I didn't know he played one news clip twice.
There will be an increased presence.
In that case, when he's playing the news, he's probably turning off the sound and doing something else and not paying attention. If I were him, I would pay attention because it's the content that I'm broadcasting on my show, and I would like to react to it and know what's going on. But maybe he's not even watching it.
Along the trail. But the detectives continue to work on the case.
He's doing more reading now.
And they will leave no stone unturned. We've heard that before. Richard Tobin, Morin's boyfriend, reported missing 11 p.m. on Saturday evening. She failed to return home after going on a hike at 6 p.m. So she was gone overnight.
It's a bit weird to go for a hike at 6 p.m. Isn't he? He hasn't picked this point up, but who the fuck is going out for a hike at 6 p.m? Oh, it's cooler in the evening. Oh, right, okay, well then fine. You go up that hiking trail at 6 p.m. then. See you later, lovely girlfriend. Would you not like to stay in and do something with me? No? Or shall I come on the hike with you at 6 p.m, lovely girlfriend? What the fuck is the woman doing going on a hike at 6? Like, I think that to be told by the boyfriend needs to be checked out and raises ringing alarm. But if I'm doing my red flags, if I was doing Armchair Detective on this case, I'd say that's a red flag. Unless it's normal behaviour, unless it's routine behaviour, unless it's something that her friends can corroborate she's always doing and that she likes to do alone, I feel like either there's been some trouble with the boy. Like, if the boyfriend was with her and he said she went for a hike at 6 p.m, yeah? If I was in the house with my girlfriend and she said, right, I'm going out now at 6 p.m, just going for a hike, I might question it. I might be like, you know, where are you going? Why? And then the other thing, I might be tempted to go with her, just keep her safe, maybe. It sounds a bit, you know, chauvinistic in a way, but, you know, maybe a bit of that. But then the other thing is, could there have been some sort of argument? You know, she had to, right, I'm going out, you know, I'm leaving. Where are you going? I don't care. Anywhere, just away from you, you know, that sort of business. She needs to get out and clear her head. Or could it be that, you know, there's some foul play at large and he's saying this, but he's just said that so that he could get away with taking a body up there and dumping it? Like, I'd ask these questions, but Alan won't because he's not really that sharp, is he?
Tobin, who marked on Facebook that he and Morin had entered the relationship on the 1st of August. So this new boyfriend was just 5 days.
Well, that raises question marks as well, doesn't it? 5-day-old relationship, 5-day boyfriend, haven't had time to get used to each other, don't know your boundaries, stuff like that. That raises questions. And it also raises questions about if you're a 5-day relationship and you were with her on the day she went missing, you know, she went out at 6 p.m. and all this business. What? That needs fully looking into, doesn't it? Because it's not just so much that you'd worry after an hour, it's the fact that, let's say you're in a new relationship, you've only been going out for a week, and you're in the same, for whatever reason, location at 6 p.m, and she says, I'm just off out for a hike, I'll see you later. Right? Would you? Or are we not supposed to be on a date in the first throes of our relationship? Like, you know, is it a bit not weird to be off on your hike? And it also raises the question, if it's a new boyfriend, where's the old boyfriend? Is he now jealous? You know, it raises a lot of questions, but the one that I think it sounds the most fishy at this stage, with only these bare bones facts that Anna's getting out of the mainstream media, but he's not going to question these things like a good detective would.
Over the weekend, he went on social media to plead with the community, let the family and I grieve. I love Rachel. I would never do anything to hurt her.
Oh, that sounds like he might have done something to hurt her then.
Yes, I have a past,
Yes, I have a past, just like you, Alan.
but I have a 15 months clean record and changed the person. He has a record for domestic violence and other things. So
Does he? How do you know that, Alan? Not showing us any evidence.
he's getting it big time on social media. Probably nothing to do with it.
Probably nothing to do with it. Probably nothing to do with it.
But you know what social media is like.
But you know what social media is like. I hope that doesn't come back to bite you, Alan, if they discovered that he did the murder.
He denies any involvement in the disappearance or death. And he's not been accused of any wrongdoing,
Okay.
nor have law enforcement turned to him as a possible suspect.
Not yet.
Second-degree assault, violent restraining orders, and resisting arrest. He's a big guy.
Maybe he didn't do it, though. You know, maybe the previous boyfriend did it. I don't know. But I would keep the door open to consider this maybe one of the suspects. Because in all of these cases, like, you know, the majority of the cases, it's the one that's closest to the last one to have seen. Like, he ticks both boxes.
Now, she lived in Bel Air, Maryland.
And we're away from
I
that
was
now.
from
So.
Dover, New Hampshire, and was in a relationship with this guy, Richard Tobin. On February the 18th, she changed her Facebook cover photo to a graphic, "Risk can be dangerous, but routine can be deadly."
That's interesting, isn't it? Changing your Facebook thing, risk and routine, makes you sound like you might have been stalked. Or it might have just been a thing about fitness, or, you know, a thing about life. It might be something, it might be nothing.
Comfort that killed more dreams than daring ever did. Why has she done that? Was she being stalked? Risk can be dangerous, but routine can be deadly. Like I said,
It's weird the way he's picked up on that little Facebook post thing and tried to spin a narrative out of it, but he wasn't prepared to spin the narrative out of the boyfriend option.
I've had to change my routine. I walk my dog in different parks.
Oh, it's about you. It's about you. I thought there'd been a young woman, 37 years old, murdered. Now it's about Alan. He's just like this. Alan is essentially the same as this vulnerable woman victim. Alan's had to change which park he walks his dog in. He doesn't go walking the dog because it doesn't live with him.
I don't follow the same route. I don't go out the same day at the same time. This is because I'm stalked.
No, it's because you don't have any sort of routine in your life because you sit on your arse all day doing nothing. You go on the stream at 10 o'clock at night and ramble about stuff that someone's presented you for the first time that you've never seen. Alan's irrational routine has nothing to do with being stalked, does it? And there was no evidence to suggest this girl has been stalked. This girl, I don't know now, this lady has been stalked because there was a change on her Facebook profile thing. That's all. But, you know, now we're down in the Alan pity party again, so.
Is she staying at? Because she's stalked. Did she have a premonition that she's being followed? Now, she owned a house cleaning business and was very popular amongst everyone that knew her. Former clients said that she's devoted to her children.
Listen, most people are quite popular amongst their friends. It's their enemies that aren't so popular with. But yeah.
And raised them very well. She was very warm.
Not dissing that woman, it's just a, you know,
flexible
a
work
fact.
structure led her to make sure that her children were always cared for. She said they were like grandparents to her children, and she and her husband trusted.
So you've got several children in the mix, so that would mean that you've got several potential, like, or maybe one or two potential fathers that, you know, might want to be checking who weren't so happy with their new relationship, potentially. You know, there's a lead, isn't there, Alan?
Rachel implicitly. There's no information about her death, other than it's a criminal homicide. But what if there's a link? I think there might be a link.
Well, there was quite a lot of information about her death, wasn't there, Alan? It involved being beaten in so badly that it wouldn't be an open casket, were the words, wasn't it? Wouldn't be an open casket. So there's a little bit of information about her death. It was violent. We know that.
It might be linked to another murder. This is very, very interesting. Could be.
Now, they're going to... Alan has no idea about this again. I'm going to... Well, let him play first and then I'll critique it.
Two hiking women go missing within 2 weeks of each other, and nobody's found as the suspect.
To a story we have been following concerning a missing Maryland woman.
A missing Maryland woman. So this woman, who's quite different in profile to the lady that's gone missing, has also gone missing, right? Now, I'm not an expert in American stuff. You know, I don't know how big Maryland is. I don't know how big that trail is, but my guess is it's pretty fucking big, right? And my guess is that because you've had two... Well, this one's gone missing. She's not been found dead, but she's gone missing. Well, the assumption is now could also be dead, huh? But my guess is that you would have people go missing, and probably murdered quite a lot in a place like Maryland, which is probably quite big. I mean, these are just, it's one of your smallest states, okay, but like Texas could, like, I mean, you could fit Great Britain inside Texas like 6 times or something. I still think it's quite a big place compared to what we're, you know, it's not like a little park, is it? Like this hiking trail is going to be like acres and acres of land, isn't it? Like proper rural. You could drive across it in an hour. Okay, but it's still a big. Okay, well, it's still a big pool though, isn't it, Maryland, to have people going missing, murdered, or whatever. Like how many people? Okay, let me just find this out then. How many people go murders in Maryland weekly? Can I find that out? Oh, it's got Baltimore. Well, then that's just fucking the statistics right up, isn't it? Because Baltimore, like, you know, people are just ordering pizzas and shooting each other if they don't have the change, aren't they? So, there's fucking loads of murders in Baltimore, aren't there? Like, there's fucking loads. That's the wire, isn't it? So maybe that's going to skew the... You see what I mean, though? This is what I mean. Like, if there's a city like Baltimore in the circle of Maryland, like, it's going to skew my statistics, so I'm not going to be able to find out. But my guess, anyway, if I was to be looking at this from an armchair detective point of view, is that this is another tragic case, but may well have its own backstory. You know, there might have been different people involved in this woman's disappearance, and her profile isn't the same as the lady that we're talking about, and maybe the non-discovery of body as well is different. So there's a lot of differences, and with that, there being that many crimes in the area over a certain period of time, it's only likely statistically that if you have a missing woman and look back in your statistics, there will be another one in a big space with lots of crime happening within a certain amount of time. I don't know the frequency, but I'm less prepared to link these two cases simply because same park area, same murderer. You know, I think that's a bit vague. So, no, yeah, I'm sure there's nobody going to be offended by the things you're saying. I think you're all good, Dover and Donnie's mom. I mean, I don't know. I'm quite prepared to say I don't know. You know, this is where people have asked me to do referred to, you know, with after the Nicola Bully case, are you going to do this case, you're going to do that case. There's a couple in the UK that I'm interested in, but in America, I can't, how can I comment? I don't really understand the lay of the land. I don't understand the geography. I don't understand how the people interact. I don't understand, you know, if it's normal to go hiking at 6 p.m. You know, there's so many things I don't even understand because I just don't understand you know, I don't have that information. So I don't think it's really a good place for me to be. And certainly with Alan, watching the news from his armchair in the UK, has no idea about any of this and can offer nothing as he's showing us.
Very poor quality, by the way. So the other lady was a missing teacher. They couldn't find anything.
So he's talking over the video, and of course you can hear that the video is basically, you can't hear any of it. And the reason you can't hear any of it is because Alan's internet is so bad that his restream is so bad. So this is bad, and he's also got the microphone behind him, so when he's talking over it, this is really bad quality media. Whether you like Alan or not, his ability to create media is severely impaired.
All right, so police using dogs to try to search for her. We heard right there they
Here
have
are the
not found
pictures
her.
again.
But in the meantime, let's take a look at this picture. Maryland police also in.
So we've got a missing
They like
woman,
that picture,
missing
don't
teacher,
they?
on the same area, gone, not found. We've got this poor lady found the next day.
You can't remember her name, can you, Alan?
This
It's
woman,
Rachel.
she had also been reported missing while hiking along a trail, but this trail about 50 miles north
Here's
of
the
where
pictures
the
again.
other woman went missing. But in this case,
find it all
Rachel Morin's body was found
a bit
the day
distasteful,
after she went missing. The 37-year-old
that's just
death
me.
is being
Maybe I'm
investigated
British
as a homicide,
prude.
although no suspects have been named. Her new boyfriend has taken to social media saying he has nothing to do with it. So let's bring in
that
News Nation
picture's
Law
okay,
and Justice
isn't it?
contributor Jennifer Coffendorfer. Jennifer, a lot to dig into with this. Thank
We've
you so
got
much
the
for giving
news
us so
on
much of your
again,
time. First of
Alan.
all, we know both women disappeared about a
So the news speculate,
one is black case of both.
Situation.
but Alan doesn't have much to say.
Woman, woman to be so and
people with some criminal background, but he's got on social media. They have not forgotten.
Foul play that she's been abducted and hurt in some way, keeping her from her devices. So sadly, certainly cause for concern in her case.
Yeah, and we're glad, authorities, we know that the people in her community are searching for her.
Something
They have
going
not
on his
forgotten about
phone?
her. I want to switch to the other case now, this Rachel Morin. We know police have launched a homicide investigation when it comes to this case. We know her boyfriend, they were a new couple. He has some criminal background, but he's got on social media saying, hey, I do have a criminal background, but
like
I've
he's
been clean
receiving
for X
messages
number
or
of months. I don't
something,
have
isn't it?
anything to do with this. What is likely happening right now in this homicide investigation of a 37-year-old mother who was found dead on a hiking trail?
Definitely involved in his phone.
To go on this trail and from cell phones, and I think that's certainly going to be looking close.
Your time.
I think I need to give you some advice again.
And there's the
Ladies
news.
and gentlemen,
Here's some advice.
do not ever
Advice from Alan. Now listen, before he gives you the advice, Alan is in his dotage, has pushed all his friends and family away. He's had 2 attempts at a family, he's failed both. He's not liked by his peers, and that would be, well, there's not that many people around, in social circles with Alan, are there? But he's not liked by his peers. That would, I suppose, be the poker players. They don't like him. He's not made lots of friends on the poker tour. He's a manipulative, greedy, selfish, lonely person who hasn't done that well for himself. I mean, let's be fair, he's not on the streets, he's not destitute, but in his own estimation of himself, Super Alan, the Armchair Detective, Special Alan, he's not doing anything special, not living in some mansion, not hobnobbing with the glitterati, he's not on Tellis. It's a bit of a sad, taking advice from this man is a mistake. It doesn't matter whether he's advising you what to get for your pizza, whether you want a big pizza or a small pizza or a chicken one, Alan. It's not about that, it's, or if he was advising you on how to play poker, it's probably a bad choice because he's a massive failure. If he's advising you in routine, lifestyle, is there anything this man could advise? He's wearing Emma White's Under Armour cap. He's wearing Emma White's Under Armour cap. See this video, this one we've got Nicola Bully Psyops. We look at the Emma White. She's wearing that Under Armour cap.
These are those rhombohedron.
Brilliant adverts. I really need to get Prime. I mean, this is my own fucking channel. It shouldn't advertise to me. But yeah, in this video of Emma White wearing this cap. There's Emma White wearing the Under Armour cap. There's Alan wearing the Under Armour cap. Both of them appear to have little flecks of cum on. Good choice, Alan. Good choice. Good choice.
I think I need to give you some advice again.
So Alan's going to give us some advice, and I would advise you not to take it, regardless of whether it's good or not. I just think, who is this man in any position to give advice to people? Who is this man in any position to give advice to people?
Ladies and gentlemen, do not have apps on your phone that tell viewers where you are.
Well, no, that's
You notice on your
obvious.
Facebook, you have a location button. Turn it off now.
Who needs this
On your
advice?
Facebook, there's a location button that shows where you are. Please, switch it off now.
Don't geolocate on the internet. Good
On your
advice.
Facebook, never say even what town you live in. Don't show them the street or the address,
Exmouth, you mean,
or
Alan?
a car or registration plate.
The one
Do not
that
show
the
them.
registration plate that you photographed and put on your Facebook that Grumpy Granny got, yeah? That one. The registration plate that says B123NNY, and that has now been it's not been withdrawn, but it's been put on loo, in a way it's been set aside. It's not currently on a motor vehicle, but you still own it. That one. And I'm not doxing him. Those are public photographs that Grumpy Granny got. So, this is all advice that Alan has failed to take over the years and has got him in trouble. But yeah,
From your friends.
retention. That's right, retention. Well done, everyone in chat. Kat and Jamie.
Make your Facebook private to everyone but your very close relations and friends. Do not let
Right, make your Facebook private. Top tips from Alan.
people have access to your life. They will call it investigating. They will investigate you. That's what they call it. I call it stalking. They find out where
Wait. Who's going to investigate his... We're talking about this woman's been murdered, and the top tip here is don't have geolocation on so people don't know where you are on your routines and potentially murder you. Which, again, I don't think is fair. I know it's good advice, right? You know, I might say to somebody I love, like, you know, don't put yourself out there to be murdered, sort of thing. But at the same time, I think in our society, the bigger question that raises that he's not able to cotton on to is that his fight against domestic violence, that he pretends to be some sort of, you know, warrior for domestic violence. It would be that women don't deserve to be murdered, full stop. Like, even if I knew where everyone was at all times, as a man, person, whatever, you know, I shouldn't be out there murdering people. And the fault is with the people that do the murders, and the fact that they should want to do the murders, and that our societies aren't protecting people from being murdered, but not the fault with the women for going for a jog. Okay? And certainly not if you wanted to put a photograph up of yourself at the beach. You know, it doesn't mean that someone should then find your photograph on Facebook and murder you. It's not your fault for having photographs on Facebook. You know, it's a bit of a horrible world, it's a bit of a harsh world, and it's a bit reality check, you know, maybe have it private. But at the same time, I don't victim shame for this. I understand it puts you at like liability, but I don't shame the victims in this way.
Is where you live, who your friends are, who your relations are. This could lead to stalking of you in your life.
You're right, Dover and Dolly's mom, saying to Star Rays there, he's not just as much victim blaming as using this to suit his narrative. Again, yeah, he's twisting things out to make them about him, isn't he?
You losing your job, or worst of all, losing your life. Lock down your Facebook now. If ever you listen to anything that Armchair Detective said, I've experienced it.
But I think he's also, right, I don't think he realises, but what he's also doing is victim blaming, because I think it comes naturally to him. You know, I think he thinks this is, I think he's actually thought this is a good angle here. I can say she might have got murdered because she was being stalked, and you shouldn't have the things on your phone to get stalked, so I'm teaching you some tips here, ladies. You know, watch out for those bad men that, like me, want to rape. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's what's in his head. He said that before about this other stuff. Oh, it's what's in their head. It's what's in their head. Alan hasn't thought these things through, but has the opinion that ladies out there that have their tits, I want to fucking murder them. You know, so it comes naturally from him. Victim blaming is natural, and it suits his narrative, so it's double bubble, yeah?
My experience, please, if you have teenagers, or anyone really, lock it down now. Never say that you're going on holiday.
What have teenagers got to do with it? If you have teenagers, or anyone really, why did teenagers come into it? Because this woman's not a teenager. Alan doesn't have teenage children. Why did that come into it? Is Alan stalking teenagers on Facebook, knowing where they are around his local town?
And they know where your address is, so they can break in your house. Never show where you are on holiday.
Never show where you live, so they can break in your house. Good advice.
Basically, don't give out any information. Your life is your private life. I remember the owner of Facebook going to the Senate to give evidence.
So why do you request people to put their photographs on their profiles, Alan? Because that's personal information. It's pictures of their face, so you can see their hair. Isn't that bad advice? Doesn't this contradict what you said before?
And the Senate said to him, Mr. So-and-so, I won't bother saying his name, you know who he is, he owns Facebook.
Can we see how big his pupils are?
Do you...
Unfortunately, not really. Not at the quality. It does look dilated, but it's the quality of his broadcast is so bad. I want to use that, don't I? Which one have I got? Which one am I using? Let's try this one. Because the quality of his broadcast is so bad, it's hard to see. But I agree, you know, I understand the concept that you're asking here. Like, is he narcotized? Is he narcoticalized? I've got him sped up so he might sound a bit more, you know, fast in the speech, and that might make you think it looks like his pupils are dilated, doesn't it? What is it? I'm sat in front of a light, so my pupils should be smaller because I'm sat in front of a light. But it does look like they might be dilated. It's hard to tell. But, you know, and you think sniff. I thought if he was on coke, he might be touching his nose more, wiping his mouth more, chewing his jaw more. I mean, he might just get really shit speed. But you think he's on a nod from opiates? He'd have pinpoint pupils, right? Yeah, I think that's probably more likely with his knee and the tablets he's had going around and stuff like that. Maybe that's more likely.
Put on Facebook where you live. He said no. They said, do you put on Facebook what hotel you're staying in today?
The pupils could also be dilated through fear. Literally through anxiety and fear for being on the internet like this, talking about stuff that he just, like, he's just winging it. So there's an anxiety that underpins this. There's another good screenshot for me as well, actually. He's just winging it though, you know.
You know, now you're here. No, I'm not stupid.
And then you've got the reflection of the glasses and the reflection on the glasses, so it is hard to see.
But he said, that's the owner of Facebook. If the owner
Hang on.
is your private life. I remember the owner of Facebook going to the Senate to give evidence, and
the owner of Facebook going to the Senate, Zuckerberg, you mean?
I said to him, Mr. So-and-so, I won't bother saying his name, you know.
Mr. So-and-so, you won't bother saying his name? Sorry, Alan, doesn't everybody know who Mark Zuckerberg is?
Facebook going to the Senate to give evidence, and the Senate said to him, Mr. So-and-so, I won't bother saying his name, you know who he is, he owns Facebook. Do you put on Facebook where you live? He said, no. They said, do you put on Facebook what hotel you're staying in today? And
this would be good if he'd found that clip and edited it in.
You know, now you're here. No, I'm not stupid, he said.
Oh, big ups in chat. Gifted 5 subs to the channel. Thank you, Red Fan. This channel might start paying off if people are going to be dropping sub bombs like that. Thank you, Red Fan. I really appreciate it. You've been gifting a few subs around here as well. I do notice. Thank you. That's
the owner of Facebook. If the owner of Facebook knows how dangerous it is, why don't you stop it now?
Thank you for gifting subs, because also it helps the channel to grow, because everyone else gets a benefit from it too. You know, the people that get the gifted subs given to them. So thank you for that.
Social media is changing, and if you've got teenage daughters
now again,
teenage sons or children,
teenage daughters, sons or children. I think you were mainly focused on the teenage daughters, aren't you, Alan?
Don't let them have apps that locate where they are, especially when they're alone, especially when they're in countryside.
Alone in the countryside, don't have apps that tell people where they are. Got it.
Please, listen. I'm very serious.
Very serious now.
I know what it is. I've experienced it. My family have. Don't let your family.
You've experienced it? What do you mean? Being murdered in the countryside? Or doing a murder?
I go through what I've had to go through. Lock down your Facebook now. And Instagram, come out of Instagram. Instagram will always tell people where you are.
He looked a bit shocked and like he did his eyes then. I mean, what you have to wonder is, what is Alan doing on Instagram or TikTok or any of these other websites? You know, it's only a few clicks away from, oh, there's a pretty young girl. Oh, there's another one. Oh, I'll look at her pictures. Oh, this one's connected to another girl. Oh, this girl's a little bit younger than I should be looking at. But I'll just click again. Like, it's only a few clicks away from Derish having fucking... Derish that we look at on the Dark Side Phil side of things. He's one of Dark Side Phil's fans. He had, what were they called? Playlists on YouTube of... the name of the playlist was Pretty Little Girls or something like that. It was all videos, like, you know, it's only a few clicks away, isn't it, Alan, on Instagram? It's funny that he brought up Instagram. I wouldn't have expected you to be on Instagram, Alan. I've got those facilities. I've opened them up to talk to people in the past, but I don't really maintain them. But I do know, you know, it's a different sort of generation, isn't it, on those things. So you see a lot more, like, saucy girls doing dancing on TikTok and, you know, fitness models and what have you on Instagram. It's not really my playground, but...
That's so dangerous.
The search is on for suspects after the remains of Rachel Morin.
Certainly it seems like, you know, it fits the profile with this lady to have been on those apps, maybe. So maybe that's where he's got this from.
Found Sunday afternoon in a well-traveled
Go
area
back to the
of
news.
Armchair Trail in Bel Air.
Tonight, a community walk along that portion of the trail as Harford County residents are focused on support. Well, Mary, many of those residents still find it turned into a murder
And he's
scene.
focused on
And
something
with
else.
that, they walked condo. Suspected find last
Sunday morning, I woke up and when I saw 25, I felt like
County Councilwoman Jessica Boyle's son to help ease fear.
we need to come out in numbers.
Off the trail missing. The boyfriend. Court record show.
Definitely he's focused on something else, isn't he? He's not even watching this news that's on his stream.
People still feel uneasy that they haven't found the suspect yet. I want to feel the way I felt last week.
He's on his phone again.
I want to feel more safe.
Well, Harford County Sheriff's deputies are keeping a close watch. 2 are taken. Thank you. The Harford County Sheriff's Office say they've already.
Okay.
Well, Fox 45 News continues to demand transparency when it comes to safe streets as a new...
Okay.
Okay.
This is going to be a tough case.
It's going to be a tough case. Well, you're going to do nothing about it until the news tells you what's happening next. The American police will make some inroads or an arrest, and you'll have nothing to say.
Business. It's popular amongst all.
And good point, Star Rays. If you went hiking to the middle of nowhere, you'd want someone to know your location just in case. In fact, here's the best advice, yeah? It is actually a good idea to go to these places in pairs for your own safety, not just because you might get murdered, but also for safety in case something happens to one of you. And then another piece of advice is always tell people where you're going and when you should return, and a sort of leeway amount of time that if you're not back in time, maybe try and get worried and maybe come look for me because I'm going out into the middle of nowhere, especially if you're in places like America. I don't know how like it goes out there, but do they have bears and wildcats? I don't know, like, you know, dangerous things, snakes, especially if you're going out into the middle of nowhere. Yeah, you would definitely tell people where you're going and how long you'd want to take and stuff like that. That's good advice.
All those that knew her. She was devoted to her children and raised them very well. Very warm person, a flexible schedule, to make sure that all the children...
We're getting into this case now. I'm not even trying to get into this case and solve this case. I'm just analysing Alan's performance.
were cared for. This is tragedy, a tragic mum's death. Those poor children. Now, the big clue from the police
so wait, again, he brought it round to the children again, those poor children, and then he left that hanging in the air. Because, again, Alan, all of your cases involve young children. And you said you weren't going to do that because it made you look like a creepy predator. And then today, you're now thinking about poor children again. It's weird that, isn't it?
We have to be very careful. We have to be very selective about what we tell you. What do they mean by that? We have to be really selective in what we're going to tell you. I need to know more. You need to know more. We need to catch up on all the local news stations.
We need to catch up on the local news stations. I don't think we do. That's not going to help us to learn more. The police just said they're going to be selective with information. So maybe you could look at the local news stations, or maybe you could go and... I suppose you can't go boots on the ground, can you? But I suppose the first thing I'd want to do, and I can't believe he doesn't do this, like, you need to geolocate the audience. So we're talking, let's put Google Maps, don't tell them where I live. Don't tell them where I live. But you want to geolocate, so it's actually good in any piece of media. You'll notice this now. Now I've told you this little trick. You'll notice it happening in the films that you watch. It's quite often a film might start from very far away, even see the planet in space and zoom in. And usually you come from further out and move in so that the audience has a chance to understand and geolocate. So here we're talking about Maryland. I've learned how to say it. And I thought Maryland was over here. But you said near Washington? I don't know. You know, I don't know. I'm not that smart. Where's Maryland? It's a state in America. It's fucking hell. Is it over this side? It's not down this side, is it? New York. Actually, it's near New York, isn't it? Because they have in... Look, there it is. It's near New York. Maryland. Yeah. It's over by Washington, D.C. Well, this is it here, isn't it? Baltimore. Do you not know you're America? You live in America, you chuffer. Washington, D.C. North of Washington, D.C. There's Washington. Isn't it? Or is Washington and Washington, D.C. different? What? Wait. Washington, D.C. and Washington, the state, are not the same thing, and they're different places. What the fuck are you doing in America? Who's got control of somebody needs to change this immediately, because all of my life I've assumed that Washington, D.C. is here. And that that's Seattle, and that this is Washington. It's Washington State, so it must be Washington, D.C. Unbelievable. Somebody needs to fix that. What are you doing? This is what... Look, Washington, it even says it there. Washington. No. And there's Baltimore. Baltimore. Oh, he knows all the terms. I would be dead in seconds in Baltimore, wouldn't I? In Baltimore. I wouldn't be able to hang in Baltimore, not with this accent and behaviour. I'd have to toughen right up. Baltimore. And then north of Baltimore... Philadelphia up there, and New York. Some New York people come to Baltimore in the wire. So where's this park anyway? Washington DC is the capital of the country, but is this the bit? Hang on, this is where they have the building, like the state building. Wait. Where is the the Senate? Yeah, where's the Senate? They're all all the Washington DC and all that business. Where's the Senate? Where's all that business? Washington, D.C., yeah. So is that here? No. Or yes. In Washington, D.C. Is that this bit? What do you mean, D.C.? This one doesn't even say D.C. None of them say DC. This one just says Washington as well. Me and the Armchair Detective is going to be laughing at me. He doesn't know his American states. I don't care. I fucking make mistakes. Don't understand things. Learn. So this bit over here by Seattle is nothing. It doesn't have the White House, and it doesn't have... Like, this is not relevant, yeah? That's... In fact, why not just do this, look. White House. America. The White House, yeah? And I will zoom out, and it'll become clear. This will be fun. The White House. Zooming out now. No! No! It's right in there. Next to Baltimore. No! The president lives up the road, and all the people down here, down the road, are all fucking slinging rock and popping caps and putting bodies in the boarded up houses, and it's a fucking mess. No. They need to sort that right out. It seems insane. I mean, London has its pockets of, like, depravity, but they're right next door to the posh bits as well. Like, it's very cheek by jowl, and it's evolved over time. But obviously, you know, the Prime Minister lives up the road from the fucking drug gangs as well in London. But I didn't realise... I thought Baltimore was, like, run down, and Washington, D.C., right? I honestly thought Washington, D.C., because you've got the Space Needle in Seattle. You've got the Space Needle, and it's quite, like, done up, and it looks... like, you know, quite done up. I thought this area was where the White House was, over here, and then south of it you've got Nevada, Las Vegas, big money, California. You know, this is all supposed to be quite nice. Like, it felt like that was the you know, the more, that would be the place for the big White House and the nice, you know, nicey. Doesn't seem to be anywhere around here that I can see that sounds like really rough and run down, even though you've got pockets of it in every city, of course. But over here though, like Baltimore, Philadelphia, they've had those films on the streets of Philadelphia, and it's all fucking run down, and it's all boarded up. They all go shooting, but they're not shooting, they're shooting each other for guns and drug monies. And then up the road, New York's quite posh and upmarket, and it goes quite well in New York, but they still have rubbishy areas, but it's cheap by jowl, like, it's a bit more like London. I'm surprised. And then you go up further north, and you get to Chicago over here somewhere, don't you? Detroit, that's run down. They used to make cars, and now they don't. Now it's all drugs again. And Ohio, and there's Chicago. Chicago's known for being a bit rough as well, isn't it, in places? I'm surprised the president lives over here. And then it makes more sense as well, because now you get Florida. This is nicer when you go down the south, but then there's also that edge of, like, you know, you've got your Bible Belt, and you've got your Gators and Skinners and what have you, haven't you? Like, you know, doing a bit of moonshine in the woods. And then this north bit, this Virginia bit around here, all this West Virginia, this is where Bigfoot lives, and people are a bit off their nuts. So the president lives here in amongst it all. Like, that would be, if you're Donald Trump and you're making all that money and you're living in all those high-rise towers and everything, and then you've got to move here, you'd be well fed up with it, wouldn't you? The president probably doesn't want to live in the White House. It's not in the nicest area. It's right up the road from Bodymore. I can't fathom it. You take a helicopter to New York. Yeah, probably. Well, they need to, okay, what I'm saying now is probably move the White House. Forget the White House. I would say make it as a museum, but the people around here don't want to go to a museum. They don't like it. Make it into a drug rehabilitation centre or something. Like, forget the White House, bin it off, start a new one, and either do it in New York, or if you're English, you either do it in New York, California, or Los Angeles probably. Like, this is where we've heard of. In Florida, we've heard, like, Snippy's, I want to shout out as well, like, there's some, like, we've heard of some of the places in Florida, and then also shout outs as well. Texas is a big one. In England, we've heard of Texas. Dallas. Put the White House in Dallas. It makes more sense, look. It's in the middle-ish. Everyone's heard of Dallas. It's kind of in the middle. It's too close to the Mexico border, but Trump would build a wall. I'm shocked by that they. And how would you sit in your White House and not, like, literally be hearing the gunshots from Bodymore popping off at night like fireworks? Like, it's insanity to me. They've got to be getting down there and fixing up the social situation in Baltimore. Anyway, yeah, what I'm saying is, if you were Alan, what you would do is you'd find, so hang on, where's this woman got murdered? Move the White House. This is actually a good political, like, someone could say, look, I'm glad that you've called me the president. I'm glad that I'm now the president, but I don't really like living so close to all this dangerous drug gang problems. So either we fix the drug gang problems and the social problems, either we fix that, or we're going to have to move the White House because it's quite dangerous, if anything. I imagine around here, right, by the White House, I imagine the houses are really nice, and I imagine it's quite posh and expensive, yeah? Like, there's a place here called Friendship Village. That just takes the piss. Friendship Village. What are they on about? Look at this! And down the road in Baltimore, they're fucking scrutting for crack and shooting each other for guns. It's... What? Is that the closest you get to a tower blocks in Washington, or is there, like, rough areas in Washington? No one can afford to live in Washington. Yeah, fuck it. Do you know what I mean? It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Like, you'd have all the nice things right next to all the horrible crime things. Like, some people have to live difficult poverty, and other people, like, got a nice apartment overlooking the park in Washington, D.C. But you can hear the gunshots at night. But then it's down in the other area, and they don't come here, so it's fine. Like, what? God bless America. What's this anyway? Look. Let's go in here. It's our promise. It's our pleasure to welcome you to the village centre. This is the happy village. No one sings. Look, there's some old white people. No one's slinging crack. I'm not being racist, but, like, no one's slinging crack around here, are they? You just go down the road and get it with you. You go through a McDonald's and drive through, pop down to Baltimore and buy your crack down there, don't you? I've seen The Wire. I've seen The Wire. Anyway, where does this woman... Look, she's called Rachel Morin. This is going to take all night now. We're never going to play fucking Baldur's Gate. Rachel Morin. Bel Air, wasn't it? It was called Bel Air. Which is where Fresh Prince lives. Bel Air. There's loads of them. There's loads of them. What are you doing in America? What's the name of the Bel Air what? Bel Air, Washington. Washington, Pennsylvania, Bel Air Drive. This is the area, isn't it then, yeah? South of Pittsburgh. No? I'm really fucking confused, to be honest. Let's say she lives there anyway. Let's pretend she does. And then, you'd, like, wherever she went for a walk, you'd zoom in on it and you'd have a look on Google Maps, change it to the, you'd have a look at the area, wouldn't you? Get geolocated. Get a bit of a feel for it. Alan hasn't done that anyway. Let's go back to Alan.
Don't we? So we will do that.
I'm leaving all that in the edit. I'm going to put this on YouTube, leaving it all in the edit.
Get a grasp of this case on the local TV stations.
So for some reason, Alan thinks he's going to get a better grasp of this than the local TV stations, not realising that the way American TV works is that local TV networks will be picked up by the wider... Isn't this right? Again, you'll have to tell me about this in America. But isn't it that you have local stations, and then if there's a big story, that feed might get picked up and put on the big station? Like, whatever information the small local stations have got has been fed through to the big station. So the first story he's watched has got all the information in. This isn't going to contain extra information. Yeah. In fact, this is likely to contain less information, if anything, because the bigger news conglomerate at the top are going to have amalgamated all of the different local news ideas and put it in their big story at the top. So this is now like grasping for straws, maybe. I mean, there's not that many videos to watch, are there, Alan? So here's another one.
The department tells our program that there have been more than 200 tips that have now come in on this crime, but they still do not have a suspect. That's where Julia
funny.
Sharper
Look, see his eyes there.
The Baltimore Banner. She is
what they're doing again, and I don't know about this. This might not be what, like, this isn't like this in the UK necessarily, but they're showing these pictures again, and they're not like bad, but they're definitely making her look quite, you know, glamorous, if a little saucy, maybe. You know, it's not bad, but what I suppose what it is she's got lip filler and heavy makeup and the hair. And so Alan said this was going to be a case that was safe because he wasn't going to look like a creepo. And in some way, this still looks a little bit like Alan's a creepo. And so when these images come up, Alan's face is a picture.
200 tips that have now come in on this crime, but they still do not have a suspect. That's where Julia Sharper comes in.
The big starey eyes. The big staring eyes.
And she's a reporter with the Baltimore Banner. She is live with me tonight. Julia, let me just ask you right off the top, if I can, what do you make of the discrepancy between Michael Gabrzeski's description? Right off the top, if I...
Here's another one. Are all her photos like this? Am I wrong in saying this? She looks like she's wearing a little black dress, like she's about to go out on a date. It's just a little bit on the edge of being a little bit saucy. Or maybe I'm victim shaming now, because like I said, I don't think it, you know, I think it's unnecessary. It's just the fact that she's dead, like she's been murdered. Like, it feels like bikini pics are not really the order of the day. That might be just me being a prude.
Make of the discrepancy between Michael Gabrzeski's description of what he says the body looked like when it was found and what the police are saying about Mr. Gabrzeski.
Okay, so we've got the news on again.
Being alive was on the body. Therefore,
I'm going to go, then he showed that he was part of the search party plot. It's possible that it's very curious about us on social media, whether he has an alibi.
Close to him.
Got the news on.
I have now AA means parts of that evening. So it appears that he has an alibi for at least
and he's back
parts
on
of
his
that
phone.
Evening. You know, but again, I have not spoken to him directly, and the police are not verifying.
Oh, he's having the
this.
drink. He's got the drink. Let's have a look at the drink going in. Is that water?
That information out.
That would be, listen, an AA meeting would be a very, very
Making him lick his lips a lot, isn't it? Might be quite sharp, that
strong
might
alibi.
be.
There are a lot of people who go to those.
For water.
You know, who knows? But, the other question I think really is critical when you're...
Basically, a YouTuber. You say, well, what about this bloke then? Why has he done it? Actually, she's backward.
Really is critical when you're talking about...
No, actually, always sniffs out a suspect. You know, actually, she's never, like, backward coming forward. She's, like, basically a YouTuber. You say, well, what about this bloke then? Why has he done it? Actually, she's quite happy to, like, be suspicious. Whereas most news channels, they're scared to say anything.
A person...
What? I think he's confused there, but yeah. Ashlyn, whatever her name is not like a YouTuber because she's questioning things about the case, but yeah.
Who dies, who has children with someone and a boyfriend who's separate from that father of the children. What do we know about the father of
You think his hair is darker under the hat? What, you mean like he's dyed it?
her children? Is it the same father that fathered all five? Are there different fathers? Are there other people who are, you know, under the microscope?
I can tell you, I think there's at least 3 different fathers from what I found out, I think.
Here.
So there are...
I could tell you there's at least 3 different fathers from what I found out, I think. Doesn't sound too... Like, he's doing a really bad job, isn't he? Because if he had found that out, then presenting that information would be interesting as an armchair detective, wouldn't it? I've done the backstory, I've found out this, and this is this person, and this is... I'm not going to show their names and faces, but I know, and here's the facts, and here's how I know it. But instead, he's just like... and he's doing the thing with the collar. He's noticed the collar looks a bit weird, so he's trying to adjust the collar.
Records that indicate that she's had custody discussions with 3 men over the years. Again.
All right. Well, she's just said she's had custody discussions with 3 men. So that's the information there that just came up then on the news. So maybe he just got it from the news.
You know, her oldest.
It might be that he's got the closed captions on, and it just came up on the closed captions just before. You know, it might have been the closed captions are out of sync.
His children are in their late teens at this point. The most recent custody.
And then it's got this picture again, which again, I don't, but yeah. Good choice, Alan.
Case that she had was in 2017.
But he's
so
not
that would
paying
be quite
attention
a while ago
again.
that she split up with that person. But of course, there's been
Oh, he's
5
paying
years in
attention
between
now.
that custody case and now, and you know, she's obviously
Skip.
questioned, and I sort of passed in here.
Every time that picture
again.
comes up, because it's come up again. Look at his face there. There's that picture again. When that picture comes up, it gets a big stare from Alan. Big stare. She's dead, you know, Alan.
and they're not giving out details about exactly who they've questioned. You know, and I certainly be interested in hearing those details.
Or is he looking at a
but
different
this
screen
point,
here?
we don't
I've got him
know,
flipped, haven't I? So
you know,
I think
what
he's
the
looking
sort
at the news.
past boyfriends or partners have been.
For her, any other siblings, aunts?
Loving family. I've spoken to.
He's looking at other things, isn't he?
What did that by putting another screen up?
Yeah, here's evidence of the fact he's looking at other things because it buffers.
Screen up.
And he's done that by putting a screen up. And this is where it starts to go a bit wrong.
Got another one here, I think. Come on.
He doesn't like this because he looks stupid and he knows he looks
Program,
stupid.
23 years as a homicide detective with the Houston Police Department.
But the weird thing is, you know, a bit of buffering, a bit of technical, it's not really, you know, it happens to all of us, but Alan can't hack it. He can't, you know, most of us just be like, oh, that's fine, well, we'll just deal with it. But Alan can't hack it. He's like feeling this pressure at this moment. And when these things happen, it's like, because he's feeling pressure on other sides and other things, whatever's happening, you know, whatever he's paying attention to, he's feeling pressure, and then it plays out in that he can't handle a simple thing.
So, Phil, you would have a better insight into why
Now
police
we've got
would say
Phil.
what they did about this Michael Gabrzeski fella. They're really discounting almost all of what he said, but it was so detailed. What do you make of that?
Well, aloha, Ashley. It's good to be with you again. I will tell you, there are many times where you have people that, for whatever reasons, want to insert themselves. It's already incredible, but he wants to bring it.
So what happened is that it says here, police dispute claims of how victim was found. It turns out how the victim was found, not true. The person that said they found the victim hadn't actually, and there was like discrepancies there. Alan hasn't pulled this out or explained it properly.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I am curious, though, if, let's just say, he is true.
I think the problem with Alan's internet, obviously I've got quite a solid internet connection here, but also I'm plugged in at the wall. I don't know if Alan's doing that even, plugging into the router, but I think the problem with his internet is you've got download speed and upload speed, and so you need both, and most people have just got download speed because that's what most people use for watching stuff. But if Alan's running another program like poker, then that's going to be uploading constantly to the internet, its information, and so he might be bottlenecking his own internet service by doing things.
In fact, they were desperate to keep those details secret because it's something only the killer knew.
The trouble here is, like, this guy's stepdaughter found the body, and he's gone running to the police for his 5-minute of fame, and he's embellished what his stepdaughter's told him. But the police don't want the cause.
You literally just learned that off the news then.
Cause of death being put out there now by the press. And we all know now that she had a rock totally disfigure her face. Well, that
he was going to say smashed her face in, but he stopped himself because he thinks it's too much for
that
the
would be
audience.
something the police wouldn't tell us. That would be classified information. But this guy has messed with the police's investigation terribly.
Messed with it. Bad person. It's buffering now.
Well, it's possible. I mean, anything's possible in an investigation like this because
clicked in,
the police
but
don't
it's not moving properly. Look, it's jerky.
Details that might compromise the investigation later on. So, you know, it's
touching
hard
his
to tell.
mouth.
The only
Having a think. And there we go. More buffering.
The detectives.
There's that picture again. More pictures. Alan's paying attention now to the pictures.
This guy in his description about it being incorrect, and when you're that absolute, I would be hard pressed to think that they are for some ulterior motive trying to run this guy's story down.
He's getting distracted
so
again.
There's got to be some, you know, there's a lot of times where motive trying to about it being.
Oh, he's busy with something else, isn't he? Really.
About this guy in his description about it being incorrect. And
I don't know what the other window, because he said he was pulling up another window, so I don't know what the other window he's pulled up is.
Absolute. I would be hard pressed to think that they are for some.
Something just happened then, didn't it? Is he getting text messages again? Yeah, maybe the spanners are sending him the next piece of video to watch.
Ulterior motive, trying to run this guy's story down. So there's got to be some.
Going to the camera, to the phone, to the camera, to the phone.
You know, there's a lot of times where people can say facts without telling the truth. That may be one of these situations here, and the police are trying to get ahead of this and do some damage control on what he's already.
Emma White, Under Armour hat. He's on the phone again.
Let me ask you this.
Star Ray says there was a ringtone.
And when you're that absolute, I would be hard pressed to think that.
Hang on.
About this guy in his description about it being incorrect, and when you're that absolute, I would be hard pressed to think that.
There is, isn't there? There's some sort of music. I just didn't really hear it properly with one ear on, but yeah, there's some sort of music, so maybe someone's calling him.
They are, for some ulterior motive, trying to run this guy's
Maybe he is getting gang stalked.
So there's got to be some, there's a lot of times where people can say facts without telling the truth. That may be one of these situations here.
It's interesting because he hasn't got many friends, so I wouldn't expect one of his friends to be calling him. Or maybe it's one of his members of his family late at night. Maybe, he's on the internet again talking about girls again, and they've had this talk with him, and they've said, like, you shouldn't talk about little girls on the internet, Dad. Sorry, I nearly called him Alan then. I think his songs, going back to his songs here, Armchair Detective, the songs recently, he said it was about not being able to speak out or some bullshit. But I think recently, because his family got brought into it by the Grumpy Granny post, and he's doing these songs about my daughter, and the word, like, I did those silly song that one time on the stream, it went away, no one cared, but Alan made it into a massive big thing, and he made a video saying that I sexually abused his daughter on the internet. And I'd ask you again, if you were, would you rather your dad had made a video saying you'd been sexually abused on the internet, or would you rather Scotty Hottie sang an innocuous song that didn't name you and said he was going to take Alan's daughter to New York? Which one of those things is worse for you? Like, it's the one where your dad goes on the internet and says you've been sexually assaulted. That's worse for you. And it's worse if he keeps repeating it and making a thing of it. And I think they got together and had a big word with him about his internet use. I think they got together and had a big word with him about his internet use. And I think that because of that, he's like not so happy families anymore. These weird shits that he's put up on the internet have backfired. And so the living years, he did In the Living Years, which has now been deleted, it looks like. No, there it is, In the Living Years. In the Living Years is a pointed song about a father and his father-son, I suppose, because it was written by a man, Mike and the Mechanics. It's about a father relationship, and it says pick up the phone and call before it's too late. So I think he wants his family to call him. I think they're deafing him. Many Rivers to Cross is about death before it's too late. You're my first, my last, my everything with Barbie. Maybe he nicknamed his daughter Barbie. Like maybe he calls her his Barbie girl or maybe something. And You're My First, My Last, My Everything is like a love song that's not... It's almost the sort of thing that you could have as a first dance at a wedding, giving away your daughter. It's a thin line between love and hate. I crossed the line. It's basically him saying that he's been doing domestic violence, which is fucking weird. First Last Time Ever I Saw Your Face, again, is a love song, but to Gladiator, which I don't understand. And then we're going to look at the new one today about dyslexic child. That's about his mom. So there are issues going on here. Definitely issues going on. But I just thought maybe his family have disowned him, and maybe, going on the internet and doing another one of these episodes, maybe that's caused one of them to call him and say, you're doing it again, Dad. But then again, I don't really credit them with watching his stuff at 10 o'clock at night. I don't really credit them with that. I wouldn't say they were. But we've got the sexy woman picture, and Alan's getting phone calls, it seems.
Some trying to run this guy's story down. So there's got to be some, there's a lot of times where people can say facts. And when you're that absolute, I would be hard-pressed to think that they are, for some ulterior motive, trying to run this guy's story down. So there's got to be some, there's a lot of times where people can say facts without telling the truth. That may be one of these situations here. And
he's definitely looking down at his phone a lot. And the thing is, I would say, is that if someone's keeping an eye on him, and his behaviour, then, like, maybe, they might alert him to when his behaviour is looking fucking creepy on the internet again.
Her face, and I got to thinking about the randomness that is being potentially suggested by the police, that there may just be a random killer out there. Would a random
there may be a random killer out there. Maybe it's a random killer.
Weapon of convenience, or would a random killer
bring
again something with him or her? So the job was planned and the idea was carried out.
Well, it depends on what random.
The little touch of the nose is anxiety again, because blood flows, like, to. I don't need to get it too explained. Like, obviously, what's just going on is stressing him, and he's not really paying attention to this. This isn't stressing him, but something is stressing him.
I mean, it's one of these things that just from what I know, from what you've detailed, it appears to me that this is much more personal. I've seen homicide scenes where the face is just destroyed, and that they're going to they're going to have to get it. When the time she left, a lot of
looking uncomfortable, touching the nose again. This looks like a bad poker player again, doesn't it?
And whether I would get those details.
Naked. Listen, thank you.
Oh, she mentioned that she was naked again.
Phil Waters.
Thank you, though. Thank you for the news. Back to Alan. Back to Alan in the studio.
Was it sexual?
Oh, he's out of focus.
We don't know yet. What about the local sheriff? What can the local sheriff tell us? Let's have a look at that.
I'll tell you something, right? And I'm now getting drawn into this case, but I'll tell you something. If it wasn't sexual, yeah, then all these photographs of her looking very pretty and all this business, it kind of pushes you down that thought process, doesn't it? It's like, you know, sexy young lady out on her own, sexy crime. But if it wasn't, then it's something a little bit darker, isn't it? It's either jealousy, or like jealousy in terms of if she had a face, you know, damaged, then someone might be angry with her. But yeah, it could be like, yeah, so this is where you think the lens is moist. I don't know how this has happened, but it's gone out of focus while he's been messing about. And it stays out of focus now, I suppose.
Around 11:23 p.m. our
for a good bit. It's out of focus now, and he's having buffer trouble.
Sorry guys, must be a lot of people on YouTube.
Must be a lot of people on YouTube. Is he insane? Is he insane? He thinks the reason his internet is buffering is because there's a lot of people using YouTube. What, more than usual? Slowed it down. What? I mean, I don't have to explain that, do I? But it's buffering.
Received a call concerning a missing person. That person being Rachel
And it's
Morin.
jerky, look, buffering. So Alan's bottlenecked his own internet.
To be fair, I really want to know what's going on here.
Come on, YouTube, be fair. I really want to know what's going on here. Again, it's this narcissist. It's not Alan hasn't got the resources to conduct his business properly. You know, and sometimes we have technical breaks, you know, sometimes we have problems, but Alan has consistently got bad internet. Big up Slinky Socks. Big ups. Been watching your stuff recently. Everyone go and subscribe to Slinky Socks. It's really interesting that Alan doesn't realise that this is his obligation, that if his internet is not good enough repeatedly, then he needs to up his game. But
is it one of her ex?
Age 37, from Bel Air. She was.
Is it one of her exes? He throws out there as conjecture.
Oh, Fox News, man.
Fox News, man.
Okay, so we're not going to get that.
And you heard that, I mean, I've got him slightly sped up, but you heard the anxiety in his voice again, the stress. Like, even if things go wrong, and like this week, again, Steve's been poorly, my main channel is slowing down to the doldrums. I will be not pushing that hard, not getting new subscribers. That's a negative, but should I stress about it and be worried? No, not at all. Not at all. It'll be there for when I want to push it. And if I'm live on stream now and it goes down and it stops working, I mean, there was a moment once where I got really stressed because my stream wasn't working. But I resolved to never get that stressed again, even if it doesn't work. And I've come through upgrading of the system, getting things better, having the Virgin Media in, you know, plugging it in at the wall. I've come through all that. Like, I know how it feels to feel like you're stressed because it's not working, but really, you know, big picture stuff, it's how you feel inside comes through at these moments. So for Alan, in these moments, he's finding it very stressful, just being on his own stream.
And now I've gone fuzzy. What is that about? Let's see if I can clean green. That's a better Armchair Detective. Right.
You couldn't look more stupid if you tried.
So what else can we find out from something that's not going to buffer? Let's look at the Daily Mail.
Oh, the Daily Mail. That's a good, reputable news source. And it won't buffer. So at least he's smart enough to realise that. He's smart enough to realise that if he just reads the newspaper to you, at least that won't buffer. But Alan, you notice that your picture quality is very bad. Have you noticed that? At our end. Not, probably haven't, have you? Because you probably don't watch your own streams back, but...
before she vanished. And cops warn locals.
So reading the news, I haven't got time for him reading the news.
Which is only 5 days before her death, right?
But we've got this picture again.
Despite telling staff she's on dating site, she'd gone on official social media with her boyfriend just days before. She'd gone all official, said she was in a relationship days before. Here he is. Richard Tobin started dating.
And here he is, Richard Tobin started dating. Obviously an innocent man, Alan proclaimed earlier that this man was innocent, so it seems strange to be bringing up his picture and throwing around tone.
Quickly before he went missing.
But this would be my prime suspect.
Big guy.
I'll tell you what as well, if you've only been going out for 5 days, you know, photographs like this are kind of nice, but also kind of, you know, big arms, rounder, little bit of a funny vibe maybe. Thank you for Trisha subscribing at tier 1. I wonder if that's Trisha Gelder. If it is, say that you are who you are, because I'll shout you out again. Really, I'm watching your stuff recently and enjoying it. If you're not, then just, hello Trisha. Yeah, like, this is interesting. It's just Alan reading the news, but like the photograph is interesting. There's stuff you could draw out from this, like I say. There's stuff you could draw out for it. Like, for example, as well. Okay, I can't make this any bigger for you. I could, but I can't be asked. But what you can see here is his hands are clasped over her, but he's holding his own hand. Who's taking the photograph? Are they holding a dog's lead here? Has this been cropped out from something else? Is this like a crop image? Who's taking the photograph? Why is he not holding... Like, if I was taking a photograph with a lady, especially if it was a new lady, I might put my arm around her and like touch her physically, but like, comfortably. I wouldn't... It's like I'm touching... It's uncomfortable because I'm touching myself. And the same with her. She's got her hands in front of her, almost like she's, in bonds out in front of her. She's holding like a tissue or something. She's not touching him. So there's a little bit of uncomfortable feeling about this pose. It doesn't seem to be... it doesn't seem to be... oh, it is you, Trisha, yeah. Big ups, Trisha. We've got... I'll just quickly shout out that I've got Cat Tarot. That's the Cat Tarot. And I've got the Golden Girls Tarot. Now, they might not be the best cards for doing tarot with because, like, the Golden Girls Tarot and the Cat Tarot. But I'm interested in tarot. I'm trying to learn. And I've got halfway through learning what the cards are. So maybe one day we should do a stream. I'd quite like you to do... I'd quite like you to come on as a guest and do a read for me. You've got the Cat Tarot and the Dog Tarot. Okay, so maybe they work. I've got the cards here, and what I can also do as well is I've got a camera... I mean, this is just a little deviation from what we're doing now, but I've got a camera that points down at the desk. So, I don't know if, like, doing a stream together, I don't know where you are in the UK. Like, if you live close, you can come around my house if you want, but if you don't, then we do things on the internet, don't we? So I thought maybe, like, between us, we can do, like, so you can see the cards, like, maybe, oh, look, that's the first one that came out. I don't know what it means, but hello, saucy, that's the tarot for you, saucy. Me and Trisha. Well, anyway, that's the tarot. You shouldn't really say where you are on the internet. It's okay, Lincolnshire's like, I'm in the Midlands, but yeah. You're a Gemini, which is like, well, there you go. The tarot knows, doesn't it? The tarot knows. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's our own intuition, which is a vibe that I get, that I like from you anyway. Yeah, so that was a little deviation. Obviously, check out Trisha's channel. I really like it when you do the readings about Alan, really, because, we all know who my favourite man on the internet is. Yeah, I was just saying about this. I think this photograph is a little bit uncomfortable. I think it's a little bit uncomfortable. I think that you would normally put your hands on each other. Like, I'd have my arm round, or, not this enveloping and holding on to myself feels strange here in this. Like, it's almost uncomfortable. Like, where do I put my hands? But it's obvious where you put your hands, on her shoulders, on her arms, or, and the fact that she's holding her hands together like this, I just find it an uncomfortable image. And it doesn't say much because they've only been dating a few weeks ago, and this is them on a hike. Oh, wait, hang on. This photograph pictures them on a previous hike together. Right, he's murdered her. Like, come on. Come on. Come on. She's found up the hiking trail. She went out there on her own, he says. I shouldn't laugh, she's dead, but I don't know anything about numerology. I poo-pooed it in the past because I said numbers are everywhere, and like, but instead of that, I'll be open-minded and listen and learn instead of that. The tarot I'm a bit more okay about because there's a couple of ideas that have been thrown up in the air that I quite like. One of which is that I might be, narcissism here, so, when it's about you, but I might be an empath, or I might have the gift in inverted commas, but I just don't know it because I'm more scientifically minded or more of a debunker. I don't entertain it, but maybe the cards know it, and the cards and whatever magic comes. The cards are not, like, the cards themselves are not the magic. It's whatever comes through me interpreting them that is where the magic lies. So I'm quite open to it, I guess. And yeah, I've got the cards, and I'll do some learning. But yeah, so I'm saying this guy's definitely the murderer then, yeah? Because, yeah, I want to know who took the photo. I want to know if there's an animal involved, because he looks like he's holding a lead. If he's not holding a lead, if that's not a dog's lead, what the fuck is it? But also, they've been on a previous hike together. So, big, tough chuffer, big, strong chuffer. Maybe she's been like, look, this has been nice, but, you know, it's not so nice. Maybe I want to break up. And he's like, it seems like this story might... You know, the thing that I'm just finding really difficult is that he said he definitely didn't do anything bad despite his previous criminal record and whatever, and that she's gone missing and he was the last person to see her. He's big enough to carry her up there, for Christ's sake, and he's previously gone on a hike with her. So, you know, sorry to jump to conclusions there. I'm not supposed to be... Wait, where have I gone? I'm back. I'm not supposed to be analysing the case, necessarily. I'm supposed to be analysing Alan's performance. Let's continue. I'm surprised here, though. Like, we've got that picture. Like, is he not going to get anything out of it? He's certainly got a lot out of the other pictures, I'll tell you that.
The Post reported that following a trip to Salon, she then went to a local Planet Fitness gym before Tobin dropped her home at 5.
Oh, come off it. The Post, he's done a Facebook post and it said, sorry, I'm getting into this case now. It said she went to the hair salon, or the salon, I don't know if it's just hair, but she went to the salon, then she went to a local gym, and then he dropped her home at 5 p.m. And then she went on a hiking trail and was last seen at 7:30. You have got to be fucking shitting me, right? Was she last seen on the hiking trail? Did somebody else see her? I need that witness, because who goes to the gym? Right, number one, who goes to the hair salon and then to the gym? Usually, like, it might be nails then, or something like that. I need to know this. You don't get your hair blow dried and then go to the gym. That doesn't happen. But then you go to the salon, you go to the gym, okay. And then after the gym, this man who you're dating has picked you up, right, and dropped you home, and you've at that point not gone together. Like, we've only known each other for a week, and you're about to go home after the gym. I like your sexy gym kit. Can I come in and have sex? No, you can't. I want to go home on my own. Thank you very much. Oh, that's fine then. Like, what? None of this ties up. What's he doing picking her up and dropping her home? Did they go to the gym together? Why doesn't it say that? What's he doing picking her up and driving around if she's on a busy day herself? You know, if she's on her own busy day, what's he doing turning up? And if he's turned up, why aren't they going on a date or doing anything together? Because it's fucking weird. And then, yeah, why is she missing 6 hours later and dead? And why is he the one that was the last person to see her? And what's he been doing driving her around? You know, come off it. I mean, I'm sorry to be throwing around accusations, but I'm not supposed to be getting into the case. As far as I can see, you know, I'm just reading the news through Alan, so what do I know? But most of it's come from that photograph where I just feel that there's something wrong because of the way, like, I wouldn't be holding a lady like that after knowing her for 5 days or what have you on a hike. It just seemed a bit weird.
So she spent time tanning herself, then she went to the gym, and then she went for a run. This is a fitness fanatic.
Fitness fanatic.
She was seen between the hours
Alan,
of 6.
That might not all be true even. Like, that's my point. Like, you'd have to be a real fitness fanatic to do leg day at the gym and then go hiking afterwards, or anything at the gym and then decide to go hiking at 6 in the evening. Like, it just seems illogical.
6 and 7:30. After reported missing, her lifeless body was discovered in a drain.
In a drain? So
Discovered in a drain.
Was put there then, 100%, yeah? She didn't slip and fall in, did she?
They don't have a suspect. They do not have a suspect.
I'm telling you, I shouldn't be laughing at this, but it's Alan.
Not a solid one, but they know something, surely. This local man is of interest to everybody, especially Ashley. This local man, Richard Trabowski, joined the search along with his stepdaughter, Cecilia, and her friend Evan, where he claims he came across the remains, but it was actually the stepdaughter who found it, and he went to have a look.
Right.
Now, he is a Native American tracker, and they decided to check 2 tunnels after noticing disturbances on the ground close to the track. He said
then he's fine.
Cecilia was the first person to see the body. She was hyperventilating, really.
And what's happened is his daughter's seeing the body, and because he wants to protect his daughter, this feels, again, this is just like my intuition. Hello, Trisha. But I think that it feels like you're a bit of a woody hippie type, and you're out there because there has been some sort of problem with the drainage, like you actually literally, like, you know, there would be, and your daughter's found this thing, and you want to protect her from the media, from the police, and she's hyperventilating and scared, and you've just said, listen, don't worry, Daddy will say he found the body. I'll just we'll just keep you out of this. So that's why he's decided to say that he was the one who found it. Now that ties in, that's fine.
Bad. And the police told her to sit down. When she sat down, she realised she was sitting on a big pool of blood. She was lying on her back, fully naked, and she had beautiful head trauma.
Beautiful head?
Like
I'm sorry, what?
Fully naked, and she had beautiful head trauma.
Beautiful head trauma?
She was lying on her back, fully naked, and she
lying on her back, fully naked. He loves this, doesn't he?
Beautiful.
Because it means he slurs his next word. So he's still preoccupied with the previous. Like, he's created an image in his head of this. Like, don't even get me started. Like, that's enough. That's all I need to say about that. You're stuttering over your words because why?
Pool of blood. She was lying on her back, fully naked, and she had beautiful head trauma, looking like her head was smashed with a rock. There was a 15 to 20 foot blood trail. It looked like she'd been beaten and dragged into that position. Of course, this is info the police didn't want out there at all.
So 100% in my mind now, this guy's gone on a hike with her probably after, like, he's maybe suggested after the gym we go on a hike, and like, or maybe she's decided not to, but he's got her out there. Like, it just feels so, like, maybe I'm wrong, you know, maybe he's dropped her home after the gym and he's a lovely guy. So they're the two options in my mind at the moment. But Alan hasn't brought any of this up. He's not even discussed any of it. He's just reading the news.
It looked like the killer was trying to erase her identity. The right side of her face was gone. Here's the guy.
And that may be, okay, so here's the point, right? Here's another point that Alan is not going to pick out, is that if that's the case, it may be that there's some psychotic serial killer who wants to prevent her from, you know, she's so beautiful and I'm so angry, so I'll smash her face until it's not beautiful. Or it might be that once she's dead, they think, I hope no one finds her and discovers who she is, so I'll remove her dental records and, like, you know, fingerprint. Like, it's gruesome, of course, but, you know, maybe it's out of panic and self-interest to try and prevent the discovery. The act of putting it in this drain, like, this is not a good move. Like, this is not definitely you're going to be safe, they're never going to find that body. This is therefore an occurrence that's not been pre-planned, you would say, because this is a bad plan, isn't it? Bash them with a rock, put them in the drain. So you would think that maybe this is something that's happened out of anger or crime of passion, maybe. So, you know, again, it points towards that man.
And there's the drain where she was found.
This is horrible. Like, this is why I don't want to do true crime, is because now we're talking about this all the time. Ugh. There's another picture of some short shorts.
Not yet revealed how she died, but the homicide investigation has been launched. It's since been confirmed as homicide, of course.
Glad we got that clarified there.
The family earlier said
she didn't bash her own face in with the rock then, did she, Alan?
Head trauma. So we know that's true, I think.
wait. If you get murdered, they'll be able to identify you by the serial numbers in your titanium in your leg. Okay? Bionic woman here. What?
It's horrific, said both sources.
Dental.
An open letter shared by her daughter Rebecca on Facebook. Tricia, her mother, spoke of her family trying to cope with her daughter's death.
Oh, here we go. Okay, I don't like this either. I'm going to skip on from this because it's a mother's letter and it basically says, leave us to grieve, and Alan is reading it on the internet. So I feel like I'm now in the same position. So the mother wants us to, you know, leave her to grieve. I don't think we should necessarily be going over what she's written on Facebook on the internet. So skip.
Like this, I mean, like your life is like never be the same.
No, life will never be the same, no, Alan.
It's an advert.
It's an advert. Here's the sheriff.
No, and then online, you know, I'm aware that many people are pointing the finger at one specific person. The boyfriend.
Getting distracted already, Alan?
Missing person case into us. We began as a missing person case, and right now, no one has been narrowed down to say this is.
Alan's got no filter, has he? Like, he'll just read anything off the internet that they tell him.
Outward, you know, working from those close.
It'd be quite interesting because back in the day, a few of the spanners went rogue and they went against him, didn't they? It'd be very interesting today if a spanner went rogue and just started forwarding him information to read out on the internet, and he just fucking read it, and like you could get anything through. That would be a good hack. If anyone, I mean, it's a long haul process that, but if anyone could get so in with Alan and then at the last, like, you know, at the last minute provide him with a load of rubbish, strange things, pictures of Madeleine McCann. I don't know. I'm sure you could think of some funny things that you could accidentally read out. Anyway, the sheriff.
Outward, up to whether this was some kind of complete stranger, and we don't want to until we can feel.
Can't really hear the sheriff, can we, Alan?
To go with the assumption that
you know, busy again.
This is a targeted crime. There's no threat to the community because we don't feel confident enough to put that.
Busy again.
Has Mr. Richard Tobin been interviewed by you?
Certainly, he's
Oh, did she?
reported the missing person that is now turned into-
Jizzy reported on this case, and he thought, all right, I can cash in on it. Brilliant. Yeah, if someone else is getting big numbers with this, Alan will assume. This is really weird as well, actually. This is really weird because it ties in with the narcissism, and it'll really hurt him. Rachel, actually, it'll bring up all the news, won't it? Was it Morin? What was her name? Morin, yeah. Rachel Morin. So you got Court TV, 8 hours ago, new push for cameras. Okay, here's a true crime, 110,000 views. Jizzy True Crime, 50,000 views. Yeah, Alan will assume that because these people pull the views with this content, he is almost obliged the views. You know, it's like he assumes that he's in this league in some way, doesn't he? That he's actually good at what he does on the internet and he pulls in the numbers, and he doesn't understand the difference between their content. I mean, I don't really rate Jizzy, to be honest, but he doesn't understand the difference. Like, at least she's kept on the grind, so to speak. But he will assume, like, you know, because what he got out of this from his live stream was 1.6 thousand views, so that will really hurt him, because he will now have to face and understand that it's not just the cases, you know, oh, the Nicola, this is the point. Alan thinks Nicola Bulley case was big numbers, but it's calmed down, but the next case that's big numbers, the numbers will pick up again. But what it actually was, Alan, is that people watched your stuff because Nicola Bulley was interested in, and they were scouring the internet for any other piece of information, and you kept coming up with interesting things because you made them up. Just talked, and like, people aren't there for that shit. So the people that have watched you, Alan, have decided to fuck it off now. They don't like you. There's lots of reasons. So it proves the point that you can't just ride the trend wave of another crime anymore. Madeleine McCann gets found tomorrow. Your videos don't hit the algorithm. You can talk about what you want these days. It doesn't matter. Channel's dead. And that must really hurt him as well. So I'm glad that these other people have talked about it, because it gives him a barometer to really understand where he is. But yeah, he's probably just watched their stuff. And the thing with Jizzy is, if you just watched her stuff, then you're just going to have to read the news, because that's what she does. Sorry, I'm dissing her, but from what I could see, when I watched a few of her things, there was a lot of reading the fucking news. And I can read the news myself, so I don't need people to do this for me.
Conclusion to this investigation, but not at the expense of rushing it. It has to go through a process, and we have to allow those investigators time to work all those leads. Right now, all points.
Skip. It's Alan I'm interested in, and Alan's not interested.
To me, that's someone that's either someone destroyed her beauty. To me, that's personal. To me, that's someone that's either
personal. They fucking murdered her. Personal. They murdered her. Of course it's personal. If someone murdered me and it wasn't personal, don't take this personally, but I'm just going to murder you. I'm taking it personally. It's fucking murder.
In love with her from a distance, or was rejected, or an ex-boyfriend. That's just my initial thoughts there.
Yeah, fair enough, Alan. Although earlier on you said that her current boyfriend was not in the firing line. He's definitely innocent, so it only leaves the exes, doesn't it? I mean, it could be an ex, could be a father of the child, it could be anyone, couldn't it? Yes, absolutely. Are there any other pieces of circumstantial evidence we could use to hone in on who it could possibly be? Maybe the man that was in the car with her just hours before she was murdered. The man that, for some reason, she didn't want to hang around with and instead wanted to go on a hike on her own, that has also been hiking with her in previous weeks.
It seems like it's someone who knows her. I should imagine.
You should imagine. That's what the detectives always say.
We already know her, to be fair. Tobin's been arrested 14 times.
Pieces falling into place.
So, can he be ruled out? I guess they're going to be looking at his DNA, aren't they? That's what they're going to do.
To look at his DNA? Is that it? I suppose you can't do that, so I'll have to wait for the police to do their work then.
They seem to be obviously keeping it very...
Did you hear that? I like that. Like, there are these little tells, these little signs that Alan is feeling stress, anxiety. Now, I wouldn't be surprised, right? Because I understand anxiety a lot more than Alan does. And I will feel compassion for him on this level, though no compassion for the narcissist. Like, no compassion for my enemy in war. No compassion for the narcissist. But, yeah, no compassion for this man, really. Like, what am I saying? That's my empathy coming through. And no compassion for the narcissist. But what Alan's doing, like, so anxiety, pressure, it builds up. He's showing it on his stream when it was buffering him. He's like, oh, come on, Fox News. Like, you know, we talk about things behind the scenes, maybe the court case amping up. I'm a great believer that, from what I learned about narcissism, that people who are narcissists also have addictions. They have coping mechanisms. It could be spending, it could be bullying, it could be gambling for Alan, it could be drinking, it could be smoking, it could be other kinds of drugs. So Alan, in his stress, will gamble more, or will turn to other vices that, you know, whatever his addictions are, that when he's under pressure he'll do them more. But with Alan, poker, like stuff like that, that's a dangerous thing to do more. That means amping up your bets, that means losing more money, and it actually leads to further stresses. Drinking won't help, because it will make him more anxious physically, and also it will make him more confused and mentally impaired. So there's lots of reasons why Alan's responses to his stress, having a big rant on the internet, going off like a nutter, you know, that doesn't help him. The pressure now he feels from his family, all the different trolls making responses, and not even trolls, just like good people making lots of different things. Yeah, what you're picking out here, that he's thinking of The Rock smashing someone's face in. Like, I think today as well, right? He's had the sexual thrill of seeing the woman. He's had that get his dander up. And in his sadist, I think he's a sadist. So he's had the extra thrill of her having her face bashed in. And I think if he's going to empathise with anyone, he's thinking, what's it like to take her down the woods and smash her face in? You know, that horrible stuff. But along with that comes an increase in adrenaline, and like an increase, I want to say stimulation, like a higher sense of stimulation. And with the alcohol, and also what we're hearing tonight is killer, unknown killer, not being caught, danger. And in yesterday's episode, even though he's pushing it for views and, you know, spinning a narrative, stalker, murder, stalker. So this stuff, it's echoing around in his living space. I cut a video about people who drowned in the river the other day, and that week I felt really sad for people who drowned in the river. You know, it got to me a bit. And for Alan, like, you know, it gets to him in a different way. But the you know, this pressure cooker, that like this room he's sitting in with this constant reminder of vile, horrible things, and his own self-stimulation and drinking and gambling and pressure and troll, you know, this is building up, and you can see these anxieties. So the next thing I think Alan is in line for, if he's not having already, is panic attacks. And I don't think he will understand initially. I think the first time he has one, he'll probably think it's a heart attack. Unless he's waking up early in the morning or late at night or unable to sleep. I think he'll probably wake up sweaty and like, oh, like this. I think that'll be happening to him. Like, Alan, if you're watching and that's happening to you, ooh, Scotty Hottie knows a bit. But I'm not going to tell you the next few steps, Alan. I'm simply not for you, Alan. But yeah, I think that's probably going to be happening. If it's not happening already, will be happening in the near future. I feel like this is anxiety building up. And this little tell, like when he went,
can he be ruled out? I suggest they're going to be looking at his DNA, aren't they? That's what they're going to do.
Just that little, it's not confidence, is it?
They seem to be obviously keeping it very close to their chest. Let's see if we can get an update from today.
Yeah, good spot there. The background is woods and trees, like he's out in the woods, yeah. And Alan always goes for the creepy vibe. Like when he's got that spotlight, like he's outside in the street and he dresses up like a fucking stalker all in black. Like Alan's got his dead of night woods background for this one. Is that a conscious choice or a subconscious choice? It's a choice, but it makes him look more like a murderer than a detective, doesn't it?
What's going on?
Anxiety will also make you tired.
News conference just a short time ago with an update. News Nation's Emily Finn is live in studio with that breaking information. Emily, what have we learned?
Oh, Emily.
Well, Nick, the Hartford County Sheriff's Office just provided some updates.
Revealing myself to be a red-blooded male myself. Emily, look, hello, pretty, like, nice hair. Alan finds them, doesn't he? Like, the start of today's episode for Alan, he said, I don't do these cases anymore because they make me look bad, but spends his whole time ogling quite attractive ladies on the internet, some of which are dead, but, you know, take it where you can get it, I suppose, Alan.
It's on the search for missing Maryland woman Rachel Morin. We were tuned into that press conference where police say they
Is he
found a
watching this though,
deceased
right?
woman-
Because what I notice is that the colour and the light on his face changes.
Rachel Morin. We were tuned into that press.
Like it kind of brightens up, whereas this frame that we're watching here doesn't brighten up. Not in a big way. So he said before in this broadcast he's opening up other windows. So I think he's playing the news and not really paying attention to it. Again, a mistake, but...
Conference where police say they found a deceased woman near the Bel Air Trail where Morin went missing.
Yeah, he's looking. You see, his eyes are scanning. His eyes are scanning, so he's looking around and scanning on something else.
Say they firmly believe this is Morin. They said that final determination will be up to the...
He's not being communicative, like he's not typing stuff, so I'm guessing he's either looking at other news pages and stuff, but this is towards the end of his broadcast now, and there's not much left to do, so maybe he's just playing poker in the other window.
The medical examiner.
The anxiety, which anxiety made me tired. The after effects, you know, once you've got through the anxiety, you will emotionally and physically tired. It doesn't mean that you'll just go to sleep, because anxiety will prevent you from doing so, but it will certainly wear you out, if that makes sense.
Has now shifted to a
Often people who have a panic attack afterwards might just feel like having a sleepy, you know.
homicide investigation, but at this time...
Not for me, because my panic attacks used to happen when I was going to sleep. So, like, I'd wake up very alert and awake and, like, you know, in a state of panic as I was trying to just drift off to sleep. So, yeah, afterwards, I might feel exhausted. The one time I went out with... Okay, so this is a good story. This is a good story. Alan will be like on this. All his followers will be on this. Oh, Scott's a nutter. I'm not a nutters. I'm not a nutters, right? I'm not. But right. So the doctor gave me some sleeping tablets. I think there was opiclones as well as. Like, this is when I first was in for the medication for the anxiety. So I was used to feeling the anxiety, but I wasn't used to taking the medication. So I went to bed and the anxiety kicked off. And in my head, my mum was downstairs. I think she was watching Coronation Street or something like that, because people arguing on the telly, people arguing. But in my head, it was people arguing over the fence, like, and they were eggy. So I jumped out of bed in my underwear, ran downstairs, got the dog by the lead because he was a chuffer of a dog, you know, protect me, and knife out the chopping block. And Mum goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Don't worry, I'm going outside to sort it out." And she was like, "What?" And I went out the front door with the dog and a choppy knife. And I'm like, "Right, the neighbours are going to be coming because they're all eggy." And she was like, "I don't think the neighbours are coming. Don't worry." And I was like, "Am I having a fucking, you know, one of these," like, because I felt really discombobulated because of the tablets. Like, yeah, like, let's go back inside. It's a bit of a funny story. I think it's funny. You know, I'm not a nutter running around with a knife in my underwear, like, but I did that one night. It's a generic name for Ambien. I don't know what it is. It's what we have in England. It knocks you out for going to sleep. But it was all, you know, it was the hallucination of the narcotic effect of the sleeping medication made me spin everything. And plus my anxiety attack made me spin it everything. And so at least I'm glad that when the shit hits the fan, I will go outside in my underwear and face it. But and that's actually, in a one way, I learned later that actually is good, because when I'm anxious about, like, I will go and face it. Therefore, if there's no one coming, there's no one coming. Although, you know, some nights you might sit up with a hammer for ages because you've heard that noise downstairs and you're like, I'm pretty sure someone's coming, so I might just stay up with the hammer a little bit longer. But, like, I don't do any of that anymore. Like, I don't have the anxiety anymore. But I learned how to conquer it, and I learned how to explore it and understand it and conquer it. But at the start of that journey, yeah, the sleepy tablets, they make you feel funny and strange and confused. And so, like, combine that with anxiety, it's not a good look.
They do not have any suspects. Earlier today, they confirmed they found Morin's car near the trail's entrance, but have not yet released the identity of...
Bear in mind as well, just for Alan's context, which he will never... Alan will decontextualise that and say he goes out in the street with a knife. But for context, it happened once, several years ago. And it's something that I find funny and can look back on and laugh. And no one was hurt and everything was fine. And I just had a little 5 minutes. You've got guns in America. Yeah, you've got a Glock. So I'd have been out there with my Glock, I suppose, wouldn't I? Shooting flat plant pots off the neighbours' fences. Causing troubles. But yeah, it's not happening and I don't have to worry. And I'm perfectly mentally sound and everything's fine.
The victim they found or the manner of death. Police said the trail is now reopened, but urged anyone who may be in the area to stay cautious.
Yeah, of course. Someone's been murdered. Good job, police. If you could stay cautious so you don't get murdered. I love it when the police make, I mean, obviously they're going to say things like that, but I love it when they say shit like that, because I feel like saying, stay cautious. Can you not do your jobs properly? Go out and catch the fucking murderers, please. Me be cautious. Can we not have a free, peaceful society? What's going on here? If it's not the police's fault, it's the politicians, it's somebody's fault at the top of the chain. I should be able to go out for a jog. Stay cautious. But yeah, stay cautious.
If it doesn't make you feel comfortable, if you feel suspicious about it, take out your phone and call 911 and let us look at it. Let the men and women of law enforcement respond and see if there's something to be concerned about.
That's what I mean about the anxiety, right? Whether Alan's paying attention or not, these policemen are saying if something's suspicious, take out your phone and dial 999. And like Alan's hearing this, you know, it's feeding into him. I think today's not gone on stream because I think today's had some sort of break. Like, I was thinking yesterday I wasn't broadcasting this live, I wasn't restreaming it, but I did take a little watch, right, a little check-in, and I'd noticed him being anxious, and I thought to myself, is this the one where he breaks down? Is this the breakdown? If his internet had gone down properly, I mean, he was able to keep streaming, it's just the buffering, but if there'd been more buffering, if maybe something else had happened, you know, a couple of straws on this camel's back, and he's teetering and teeter-totting here, so he didn't have a breakdown on this one, and I think if he were to be having a breakdown in the day, he probably wouldn't switch on his stream, although some rants may have felt like the verge of a breakdown as well. So I do wonder, you know, Alan, if I'm pushing you towards a breakdown, do say, because I'll give you a little harder shove. Do say, Alan, I'll push you harder. Oh, you can't wish this man a breakdown. You know the horrible things he's done, don't you? No, I don't know all the horrible things he's done. No, because he's lived a life of horrible narcissism and you've not had to endure it. But for me, he represents, and for many people on the internet, he represents a type, and it's nice to see him get a bit comeuppance. Fuck them, to be honest. Like, the amount of people he's hurt over the years, the amount of people he's pushed to, with his insensitivity and his boorish nature and selfishness at best, you know, the amount of people he's put through, and people like him have put through awful shit. I don't feel any sympathy for the devil. That's a song by a rock band, so.
And Nick, we are also following another related case. It is a missing woman in Maryland.
Maryland? I'm picking up on that now, Maryland. It's quite cool.
We have a little bit more details about her. The Greenbelt Police Department is looking for Miriam Sela, who was last seen near a park last week, where she too was known to take walks. That's what Rachel Morin was doing before she went missing. Police say that this is a critical search as Sela
Alan's not going to be as interested in her because she's, look, she's just immediately looking away.
To find her. Now, many of her friends
not as
and
pretty,
family
this one,
attended a candlelight
for
vigil
Alan, not up Alan
and
Street,
prayer
not Alan's
events
type.
Friday night to spread the word about her disappearance.
She's a teacher, she's a bit older.
What we want are answers. We want to know what happened to her. We want to know where she is, and we want to know what authorities are doing to try and find her.
Good questions. Let's skip on a bit,
home safely, and we want her home safely yesterday.
Because it's not really related in a way, is it?
We will be continuing to monitor these investigations to find out what could have happened.
Emily Finn, back to you in the studio.
To be clear, police are not connecting the two, correct?
Correct.
They're not connected, are they?
These are not connected. These are two very separate
Alan
active
did earlier.
investigations that they are looking into.
Emily,
yeah. Right, get rid of you, Emily.
But are they connected?
Are they?
Are they now?
No, they're not. Unless you can find a connection. No. And the police have been doing their investigation and they said they're not. So I'd be more inclined to believe them than you on your ass in Exmouth.
Yeah. But are they connected? Are they? Well, the police are stepping up patrols. But I guess we want a breakthrough.
Right? More likely for you to have a breakdown than a breakthrough, Alan.
Witnesses have been contacted.
Shoulders up, arms folded now. Little cheeky bit of body language. Defensive, obviously, covering his neck, posture, arms folded. Defensive.
3 men, 2 women, dog walkers have all been urged to come forward. They've got them on CCTV. They want to speak to 5 people who were there at the time. That's the next thing as well. Try to take down witnesses.
There were no witnesses, though, were there, Alan? They're not witnesses because they didn't witness the murder. They're people who were in the area at the time. Start paying attention to his eyes, he gets more droopy and more woozy. You think I think he would be getting sleepy, right? I tell you what, sitting in a room in front of the lights, late at night, had a drink, you know, why would he not be sleepy? I would love to see him fall asleep on a stream. Darkside Phil has fallen asleep on a stream before, but he wakes up very quickly and then makes it like, oh yeah. Like, he nods off. I'd love to see it.
Now, the man who described the grisly state of her body never actually saw it. So there's a dispute going on between this guy, this Native American, and the police. The police are saying he never saw the body.
But his daughter did.
So he spoke to multiple news outlets, and the police are saying no, not at all.
It's definitely, if his eyes are droopy as well, right? I'm saying about anxiety, it's definitely a sign of anxiety as well, because you have that adrenaline rush when you feel the anxiety, and then it dissipates a little, and that leaves you feeling a little bit tired, and you add that in, you know, you add it all in. I don't care, like, it's irrelevant whether the guy was Native American or not, isn't it? He's American. Like, these days, your heritage, like your racial heritage, is not particularly pertinent when you're a witness to a murder or you found a body, really, but...
Talking, he's a strange character. I've got a little bit of film of him, so you can assess this.
You got a little bit of film, so... Okay.
There's tunnels.
There's a little bit of film of this man, and again, Alan's not going to, interpret anything from this, but we might have a little look.
And I walked forward to search the one tunnel, and they searched the one, and that's where they found her. To bring her home so she can find a final resting place in her family, that door can be finally closed.
Okay, I'm saying he didn't murder her. He doesn't seem to be in any way, showing any signs of guilt or stress in these. He seems to be quite a, he seems to have the right thing to say, like to bring her home to her family, and that all sounds about right, yeah.
And they can get the investigation on and hopefully catch the person that did this.
Do you think Alan means, you're saying Native American, like he's got stuff around his neck, he's got stuff around his neck of like a tracker and stuff, like, he's got pictures of I'm going to say Indians, because when I was a kid, Native Americans are Indians. Like, I'm not, that's not a slur, is it? American Indians. Like, he's got pictures of those Indians on his clothes, so I think in some way he's got this heritage and he's going with that, yeah.
This trifling act.
But that's really short clip, and there's not much to deal with it, is there?
The door can be finally closed, and they can get the investigation on and hopefully catch the person that did this trifling act.
This what? Trifling act?
Trifling is a strange word, but then I don't understand the context of how Americans use words like that. I don't understand that guy's education level. There's not really much for me to go on, but it's not a trifle. It's not a small trifling act, but it might, to American, maybe that's the right word out there. I don't know.
Strange man.
Hotjar takes marketers from one.
You're saying it's not Jamaican.
Okay,
look,
so...
he was wearing pictures of like, it's probably the quality of Alan's internet, but he was wearing pictures of Sitting Bull or equivalent style people. So maybe he's got a very small part of him that's Native American, and maybe he really wants to play on that. We're not going to discuss whether that man's ethnicity.
He saw the body.
I mean, oh wait, this is brilliant. This is excellent. Look, register for free to continue reading. Excellent. Another foolish move from Alan to decide to read an article that he can't read. Not because he can't read, but because he hasn't paid to read it. So it's free even, but he's not registered. So.
But the police say he was not even within eyesight of the crime scene.
See when he discovers it.
So,
you discovered it just then.
Not to be trusted, the guy that's looking for all the clout, is he? He saw the body.
Tongue out.
But the police say he was not even within eyesight of the crime scene.
Moves down. He starts to scroll. And then look, there's the face. He feels it. Made a mistake again on the internet.
Not to be trusted, the guy.
Not to be trusted. You, Alan, you're not to be trusted. The guy. And why is the guy not to be trusted? Because he said he saw the body. And why did he say that? Because his daughter saw it and she had a hyperventilation attack of her own. So I think he might be okay to be trusted in this instance, talking about the finding of the body. Because then on the news, he said he didn't find it. It was 2 other people that found it. So he actually changed his tune, after being found out, trying to protect his stepdaughter. So I think that's fine.
Looking for all the clout, is he?
He's not looking for clout. I don't know if he's looking for clout. Like, the way Alan contextualizes things through his own prism is so fucking weird. Might get myself some of that social media clout by finding a murdered woman or by saying I found. I was in the very zone where my stepdaughter found her, but I said, hey, don't you tell the police you found her. I want the clout for that. You can get your own Facebook friends. What's he on about?
I don't think.
It's going well, isn't it, Alan?
Just trying to pick around and get any more information I can to help you out.
Just trying to get any more information you can.
The ex-boyfriends, the ex-husbands. Where do they go with this? What's what they got on CCTV?
The way he just witters these words here. The boyfriends, the ex-boyfriends. Where do they go with it? What are they getting on the CCTV? You don't know any of it, Alan. But it's the way Alan likes to spin things, and he thinks he's a good talker. He thinks, you know, turn the camera on, I can wing it, I'll be fine. He thinks he's got the gift of the gab. He doesn't really.
You out?
Stretch Johnson.
The boyfriends, the ex-boyfriends, the ex-husbands. Where do they go with this? What's what they got on CCTV?
A mother of 5 was found dead.
And it's the news again.
Appearance.
Oh, might be buffered then.
Baltimore.
But is he watching the news, or is he concentrating on something else on one of his other windows? Is there a sporting event or a poker game or something else you're busy with, Alan?
Solid suspect targeted. Yes.
Oh, back to the news now.
On Rachel's
Back to the phone, maybe. Looking down at the phone, are we now, Alan? Again. Like, do you know when you were at school, right, and they told you off because you weren't supposed to be messing with that? And like, if you've got enough for everyone, then share them out. No, well, I'll be taking. You can't take that. I didn't have a phone at school. When I was at school, phones were the size of fucking great big bricks. So I don't think I had a phone at school, you chuffers. But I didn't have a phone at school, but I now know what it feels like to be the teacher and to look out into the class and see someone not paying attention when they really should be. Although the roles are here reversed, Alan is really the one in the position of authority here on his own stream, but he's not even paying attention to what is going on.
That have not released a cause of death.
Again, stress.
Now, internet sleuths are heaping scrutiny on Rachel's boyfriend. The two went
I really think that sitting in this room listening to all this stuff about murder and going on about stalking and working himself up is starting to... Alan believes in seeding ideas. Alan believes that psychologically you can seed someone an idea. Like, you might mention, well, for Alan, like, you know, subs or donations or money, or like, but it seeds an idea, and then later on it will come to fruition. He doesn't have to like overtly state the thing he wants, but he can seed the idea. I think what's happening here is that the ideas have been long seeded in Alan, and I think he actually believes his own delusions and his own narratives at some point. And he's actually starting to worry about the very things that he's been trying to convince us. It's like the boy who cried wolf, isn't it? Oh, I'm getting stalked. Oh, I'm getting stalked. Oh, there's bad stalkers. Oh, they all want me. They all want me to be, no, I don't think this is fake anxiety. I think he perceives himself as being not hidden, because he hasn't literally taken the camera off the screen, but the attention is on this video. He thinks that for his content, and he described this before in one of the episodes we looked at, so check out, we've got a playlist of all this. I'm saying this now, I'm not on YouTube now, but this will be later, so we've got a playlist. He said that he needs to fill time, hours, and so he might as well just turn up and play one of his old videos. And then he was like, ding ding ding, I can actually just turn up and play videos. So like, this part of the show is so that the people, the numbers go up, the people watch, his spanners are entertained, he's got nothing, he's distracted by something else. So I think at this moment he feels invisible in a way. He feels that the focus is not, he's tried to put the focus somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's shifted the focus somewhere else. So I think these shows, these tells of anxiety are him being anxious rather than it's very strange as well, because he's running a stream on the internet. So to not be paying any attention to the stuff that's going on, really, and to have something going on behind the scenes, whether it's losing money at poker or his family telling him that he's doing it again or whatever's going on, like, you know, it just feels like there's something going wrong behind the scenes, doesn't it? And he's feeling all the pressure.
Called Facebook Official.
And it would be funny, like I said, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, because in The Boy Who Cried Wolf, Alan, if you're watching, in The Boy Who Cried Wolf, this boy made a big stink about there being a wolf. They said, look after the sheep. And he said, okay. And they went, oh, there's a wolf, there's a wolf. And they all came running up, all the villagers. And where's the wolf? Oh, it's no wolf. Just saying it. Just saying it. And then another night, there's a wolf, there's a wolf. And they all come running up. Where's the wolf? There's no wolf. Just saying it. And then another time, there really was a wolf, Alan. This is you, Alan. This is you. This is you, Alan. There really was a wolf. And you went, there's a wolf, there's a wolf. And everyone went, well, I'm not going up there. He talks a load of shit. The boy cried wolf, Alan, isn't it? So all this stuff going on about stalkers and all this stuff. In fact, he's more likely to have worked up one of his... Because I maintain his supporters are the ones that are going to stalk him. I'll do these videos on the internet and we'll talk about it and create these conversations. We're reacting to him. He's a lolcow. But, right? But the stalkers he was describing are people who are in love with these people. So in love with them, they don't want anyone else to have them. Stuff like that. The sort of people that would give him money. Give him monies. You know, do you trust those people in your chat, Alan? Do you think that all those people in your chat have really got those pictures of their own hair? Like, how well do you know them? I'm predicting that you talk to them on email or even Skype behind the scenes. You know, maybe you talk to them through this phone that you're so enthralled with. But there's definitely something going on. And at this point, if Alan started to cry wolf again, no one would come to his aid. The local police don't want to know. Imagine him calling up the local police. Oh, there's stalkers again. They'll be like, it's that fucking dickhead. No, you know, shut up. Report it, Alan. Put a incident number on it. Put a report number. Not a crime number. No, it's not a crime, Alan. It's not a crime, so don't put a crime number on it yet. Put a, you know, an incident number on it, and then, you know, log it, and we'll talk to you later. Call 101, like, and he'll be left on his own, fucking panicking. Yeah.
Days before her death, and it turns out he reportedly
He's not
has
paying
a long
attention.
charge that appearance, or I have a past.
He does look sleepy now. Is he going to sleep now?
15 months clean, and if changes.
He's going to sleep. He's going to sleep. I excite. I excite. Look at my t-shirt today. It's vegan wagon. Look, do you like that? Vegan wagon. That's where I get my energy from. Vegan power. Vegan power. Vegan wagon. I made this t-shirt myself. It's the Volkswagen logo with the vegan wagon. It's the Volkswagen words. I made it myself. They're not available in any shops. This is the only one in the world that exists because I'm not allowed to sell them because it's copyright Volkswagen. But it's a cool idea. Vegan wagon, isn't it? Maybe we should start selling them. I'm excited. I'm excited. He is going to sleep. Dover and Dolly's mom, 10 points for you, 100 points for you. Alan is here, literally falling asleep. I haven't seen this. I think he will fall asleep and then nod up out of it and go, ugh, and try and be all awake all of a sudden, but definitely going to sleep. And in this moment, off with the zud. All that stress and anxiety has made him, all that drink has made him tired, and he's just falling asleep in his own stream. Fucking love it. Let's watch it in real time. Settings, playback speed, normal, yeah, normal. Let's watch it in real time. Love it. I love it. When does his eyes close? They're going there, aren't they? Oh, that's 20 seconds. I've had to go back. This is brilliant. Slow-mo. Okay, we'll watch it in real time first, then slow-mo.
Rachel's boyfriend.
Because there's the eyes closed.
Went what is called Facebook
So count
official,
the seconds.
Just days before her death.
They're still closed.
It turns out
this is asleep at the wheel. Oh, sorry, I have to pause it. This is asleep at the wheel, isn't it? This is like how you get killed on the road by some dickhead who's been drunk driving. Asleep at the wheel. Like,
volunteer searcher
eyes,
found her body.
The eyes go.
Police have ruled her death a homicide. They say
there
her
go
body
the eyes.
showed
Right, the
obvious
eyes are
signs of
closed.
Trauma, but have not released a cause of
Oh,
death.
open. Okay.
Now, internet
open.
sleuths are heaping
Wait.
scrutiny on Rachel's boyfriend. The
Or are they
two
just looking?
went
Is he
what
just looking
called
down at the phone?
Facebook official, just days before her death.
Oh, the eyes are closed here, aren't they?
Reportedly has a long rap sheet, including assault.
Oh, he's brought up another window though, hasn't he? Because it's all gone bright. Hang on, am I wrong? Is he looking at something else on the internet? I'm going to make him really big.
Restraining orders and resisting arrest, among
He's
other
going.
charges. But Tobin has not been implicated in any way by the
There's
police.
a blink
and
then,
he's
hang on.
acknowledged that while he has a quote,
He's a blink. He's awake here.
past, that he had absolutely nothing to do with Rachel's disappearance or death.
Now
I
they're
love
going.
Rachel. I'd never do anything to her. Let the family and I grieve.
That's
Yes, I have
closed.
a
That's
past,
closed.
But I also have 15
That's
months
eyes
clean and
closed.
have changed
There he
person,
wobbles,
please.
and then he wakes up.
Meantime, the sheriff
Yeah?
says evidence retrieved from the crime scene strongly points.
And now he's shaking it off there. Yeah, definitely. That was falling asleep. That was falling asleep. There was a wobble, and then he woke up, and then he shook it off. Definitely going to sleep on his own stream. Fucking love it. Fucking love it. Okay, we'll go slow.
With Rachel's disappearance or death. Lord, I love Rachel. I'd never do anything to her. Let the family and I grieve. Yes, I have a past, but I also have 15
Alan.
months clean enough change as a person, please. Meantime, the sheriff says evidence routine
just woke up.
from the crime scene.
What a plonker. Playback speed. We'll have playback speed normal for a little bit and just see how he tolerates nearly falling asleep.
Strongly points to foul play, and her family insists
He's looking
Rachel
around
did
confused.
not go willingly, and this was not an accidental death. Police
You
have
don't want to
stepped
show
up
that he fell
patrols
asleep.
in the area, but again, they're not ruling out that there remains a danger to the public.
Probably need to do something to wake yourself up at this point, wouldn't you?
I prefer it when I can stand here and tell you that the suspect has been arrested or that it's a targeted crime. I can't tell you that in this case. We ask everyone to use good judgment on the trail, but always
He's
be
handling it
aware
all
of your
right, isn't he?
surroundings. Don't set
I mean, he definitely just nodded off then.
yourself a predictable routine. Walk or run with a
Oh,
friend or
this is what I predict. Yeah. Okay. So here sorry, he's moving. What's happening here is he's now up out of his seat, you know, moving around, checking out what's going on around him, but also trying to get some movement, get awake again, isn't he? Like without making it too obvious.
family member, buddy up. Also consider wearing a whistle.
Checking to see if the camera is on and he's definitely been recorded. Yeah.
So
Fuck,
carrying a
got
whistle.
caught falling
If you see
asleep there.
something that doesn't make you feel comfortable, if you feel suspicious about it, take out your phone and call 911.
And again, he's got that message being drummed into his head. This is brilliant. This is almost like self-torture, self-psychological detrimental manipulation that he's doing to himself, and he doesn't realise it. As he's falling asleep, he's listening to the police describe how you would need to call 911 if you're in an emergency situation and homicide and all this. Yesterday he was going on about the stalkers. Like he's working himself up into a mental breakdown, like with subtle psychological. Like it's kind of like really. It's kind of captivating in a way, like watching a man destroy himself.
Rachel's body was found. Sheriff, thank you very much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. All right, so it seems.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you know this, right? But before you go to bed, your mind is kind of like, it starts to open up and think. Well, you know, because you go to bed yourself, you sleep. You know, you think and you drift and you think about different things, and like you might have more access to your subconscious in those moments. I certainly have studied hypnotism, read all the works by Derren Brown, looked at some of the books he's looked at, not gone too deep, but been hypnotized myself, and believe that I could hypnotize other people. I've made hypnosis videos on my ASMR channel that send people to sleep for the purposes of sleep. You know, I don't know about stopping them from smoking or anything, or, you know, making them walk around the house and eat an onion, but I think I could probably hypnotize the right person given the right circumstances. I've not done loads and loads of experimental hypnosis on people, so I don't know. But I've done some over the internet, and I understand the concepts and what's going on. So I think for Alan to be feeding himself this murder death, I mean, it's happening over years, hasn't it? It's been going on over years. I mean, I do say he's a narcissistic sadist, so maybe it doesn't affect him in the same way as it would one of us. Trisha, imagine him in the black room you created and put the news on loop, he'd go crazy. I don't know, it depends who he had in there with him. Like that room, Alan doesn't have to live in that room. The trafficked person does. Alan just takes 50 quid a time to let other men go in there and do what they want, as long as he can take a few photos. But yes. Like, it would be crazy. Like, imagine Alan in there with the news on all this, and it's always murder death news as well. It's not nice news. It's not the bit where they say, and in other news, here's a squirrel riding a bike. It's no, it's, and in other news, here's more murder death. But he's taking it in on a subconscious level as he's trying to sleep, or falling asleep, and it's all consuming in his life. You know, it's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
It seems that the investigation is ongoing. Do you have any sense of whether this may have been committed by a stranger or someone who may have known her?
Well, as I said in the press conferences, you showed clips
There's the drinky drink.
of our investigators continue to work every possible angle and aspect of this investigation. We've had hundreds of tips come in.
You're gonna go again?
You know, the reach on this story, because
What's down there?
it's so unusual for this specific community here. We live
Pulling
in a relatively
faces.
very safe place on this hiking trail.
I'm gonna speed
Such
it
a
up.
crime. Nothing even close to this has ever happened. It has captured not only our community's attention, but the nation's
Stress.
attention. And again, I can't specifically say
covering it
down to one person or one group of people. All aspects of this investigation are under
pretending to lean in and concentrate now. Come on, wake up, Alan. Wake up.
Of our men and women.
Has the boyfriend been cooperative?
I'm sorry, you broke up. I think you said that has the boyfriend been cooperative? Everyone that we have spoken to, it's my understanding we've had no difficulty in obtaining people to sit down and have conversations with our investigators.
Here it comes. He's going again.
With the inner circle.
He's going again.
Rachel, those to last see her.
You can feel it. You can see it in him, can't you? He's going again.
Members and associates.
He's going again. Alan, man, Alan, what are you doing? Streaming at like 11 o'clock at night? You know what? Yeah, like he turned to the weed a bit late. Like he goes on about me and the weed, right? But like, okay, you're right. It could be the tramadol, but I think he's been drinking heavily that day, and I think he probably fell asleep before his stream, and that's why he was late to it. I think he probably woke up in it. Oh, I'm on the sofa and drunk. Like, probably walked in on himself. You ever heard that expression? Walked in on yourself. Like, you wake up in a situation. Like, it's only when you drink heavily. I've done it a few times. I used to drink very heavily. I don't drink a drop. I haven't done for years now. But like, you can just wake up and be like, fuck. What am I doing with the telly on? Like, where am I? Like, shouldn't I have gone to bed? Like, you just wake up and you've like fallen asleep in your stupor. I think that happened. That's why he was probably late to his stream, maybe. And he's certainly showing the effects of exhaustion, stress, and alcohol misuse, I suppose. Yeah. And also, it's late at night. Like, he started his stream at 10 o'clock at night, at 10:30. Like, to do what? To watch videos and just sit around. So of course he's going to feel sleepy. Any normal person would. He should bring a cup of cocoa with him because his content is narcoleptic in it. Hang on, is that the right word? His content makes you sleepy anyway. Is some. His content makes you sleepy.
To us. So again, until I feel comfortable that we can say.
Yeah, big ups, Jamie. Alan's GP should have taken him off the tramadol by now, but Alan will be in there giving it a load of shit, like complaining. They'll probably just hand it out, and the other option is that he'll know someone who can get him some sort of illicit substances over these years. He might have a few contacts. I don't know if he does, but most of us do. I could get you a couple of tramadol if you wanted them, Jamie.
Was or was not a targeted event.
Not that I would be drug dealing, of course. I'm just saying I know someone who could.
And as you said, we've enhanced our patrols along this section of the trail to certainly make sure that our residents here in Harford County feel safe to use that trail system.
Totally understood that you have to be careful about what you say and not say during this investigative process. Sure. But just to confirm real quick, you are convinced this was a crime, though?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
She was found by a self-deployed volunteer.
Is he all right?
In the area doing
Is he going to sleep?
It's a very large area.
I forgot. I was watching the news for a second there. Honestly, I zoned out and watched the news for a second there. Is he going to sleep or is he on his phone? I think he might be doing something.
And arrived on the scene.
He looks very sleepy.
Accidental injury or something self-inflicted. We were dealing with a violent homicide.
Thank you for watching.
He looks ever so. Oh no, he's awake. Yeah, that was falling asleep, isn't it? I thought he was on his phone, but even if he is, it's the looking down, being on his phone. It's turning into sleep like that. Like falling asleep at the wheel, and the fact that he suddenly looked up. This is brilliant. This is extraordinary.
We were not dealing with an accidental injury.
Catching him sleeping.
We were dealing with a violent.
The only other thing that we could catch him doing that would be even better than this is if he started jerking off.
Homicide.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find.
Oh, turn that off quick! I've woken up.
Present, but we're going to be keeping an eye on this case.
I need to turn off the stream quick.
What do you think? What have we got?
Unless he's been lining up photos of that girl on his phone so he can have a good old, like, he didn't realise today that you'd be introduced to this murdered girl and her pictures on social media, but now he's got them on his phone. He can't wait to get off and have a good look at them, can he?
Ex-boyfriends? Fathers? Dating.
Fathers? You mean fathers of the children? So ex-boyfriends, fathers, like they're all men. Alan's going to suggest it's all men. It could be someone from the gym, couldn't it? She's just been in the gym or the salon. I think it's less likely.
Apps. Fitness fanatic. New boyfriend. Horrific murder. Horrific murder.
All the buzzwords now.
Well, I've got just one more that's just come in. I'll show you.
One more that's just come in. What do you mean that's just come in? To the hot newsroom, editor Alan has just got another piece of reel coming quick, hot off the presses, that Kaka has basically sent to him. Essentially, hasn't it? Kaka sent to him. Slinky, if you're watching, like, you can clip those moments out of this stream if you want. Like, get those clips of Alan falling asleep up on it. Like, one of the things I'm bad for is I'll do this for hours and I'll clip this and put it up as like an hour and a half or whatever it's been taking. But we need the shorter clips as well. You know, you need the small, like, that make the 1 point. Like in this one, Alan has been sleeping. I'm sure if Martin's watching, he'll be thinking the same thing. Alan has been sleeping, and it just needs, you know, very clearly pointing out, because he won't like it that we're catching him being an idiot. What do you think about those pupils? I mean, it's hard to tell, isn't it? But that's the best look you're going to get. I think wide with fear, to be honest. But yeah. There's your pupils. That's what you wanted.
Seems the boyfriend
Certainly
is
saw
now
up his
giving DNA to the
nostrils.
police, which is interesting.
So one more video
Big
on
source
the
of
news.
information. Who did she last contact before she went to the trail? Location pings. Did
And
she
you
go
can stay
somewhere
up for
before?
this, can't you, Alan?
That kind of thing. And also, what's interesting is this trailhead
Because
is
it's got
literally
pictures
in
of
the
her.
parking lot. I'm
It's got those
interested to
pictures
see
in again.
what-
I don't want to show them again. Like, she's in a like bikini and stuff like that, which is, I mean, she does look quite attractive in her pictures, but I just think it's inappropriate for the fact that she's just been murdered. So
kind of surveillance they have. Did they see her get out of her car and start down on the trail? I think law enforcement opened
you can
this
stay awake for
thing
this, can't you, Alan?
this
Yeah.
brutal. I think a lot of people.
Yeah, and you out to the area. I mean, app images. When we've been talking about the trail, it's not like it
Touching the face, rubbing the eyes.
goes through a forest or a mountain
Someone's really
area.
not,
I mean,
you know, not got the stamina, have they, Alan?
it's almost more of like a rec area. Looks like there's like some ball courts out there. It's almost like a board complex nearby.
She's in that.
Watching.
Actually, keep your eye on it.
Actually, I'm
that
pretty
gym.
sure, I don't know, we seem to have watched this through, yeah? But I'm pretty sure either in this or one of his previous broadcasts, he described Ashley as one of his friends, like he does, you know, like when he's like, oh, this newsreader, like, you know, they're one of my friends. Like, I'm pretty sure he said my friend Ashley or whatever, like, she doesn't know him, he doesn't know her. He seems to have a lot of faith in her.
Open. You mentioned the apartment complex nearby.
Thank you for watching.
It's like an Isla, it's another Isla. Ashley will keep an eye on it.
Nearby.
Thank you for watching.
Actually, keep your eye on it. The thing is, she's in that gym. There's men in the gym. Has she been advanced? Has there been advances made to her? Has she brushed them off? I mean, a lot of these murders can be like.
Yeah, but she got in the car with that guy that she was dating immediately after. He picked her up from the gym. So if a man in the gym had been wanting to murder her, then what did he do? Follow her with the boyfriend, wait outside her house, wait until she went on a hike, follow her up the hike. Doesn't hold water.
Just a little thing, like someone that's of that mind, and she's rejected it.
No, I meant just put it on your channel. Like, I haven't got. I don't know where I'd put it, but like here, I can make clips from within Twitch quite easy. Actually, maybe I should just do that. Yeah, it feels like just a little banger, doesn't it? Alan fell asleep. Like, it feels like its own little video. Alan fell asleep. Whereas what I do is like an hour and a half of Alan is a fucking arsehole for like hours and hours. But yeah, you're right, Trisha. He doesn't vet his guests. Yeah, it's. Or maybe that's where I heard it. Maybe you were saying it. But like, I've heard that around the internet. Yeah, that they turn up. It's the first time they've spoken to Alan, and then they're on live. So that's a bit of a big step. And he doesn't want to do any preparation, does he? It's part of his narcissism that he doesn't believe he has to. And this is his own downfall in a way, isn't it? It's irony of all ironies, that a failure in all tasks, failed DJ. It's not like, you know, Alan says about these things he used to do in the past. I used to make jewellery. Did you? Because you're not doing it now and you don't seem to be a success in that field. Oh, I used to be a DJ. Are you? Because you don't seem to be doing it now. I mean, Jimmy Savile was a famous DJ, wasn't he? And yeah, I ran restaurants, but they were failing, and you had them taken off you as part of the bankrupt. I assume you went. Was it bankrupt, or did you not pay your taxes, or what happened with that? And then poker play, yes, had a big win the old once or twice. Had a big win once, but pissed all the money away, giving it back to all the other people that play poker on the tour. But it's basically pay to be in the poker hand, pay to go somewhere, pay to be in it, pay, lose, lose, lose. Like, basically a big failure in that. Turned to being an armchair detective on YouTube. Big success on YouTube, but has turned it into shit. It's like Jesus turning water into wine, except you turn luck into shit.
Could easily kill him. Right, if I can't have you, no one's going to have you. I'm going to smash your face, so no one's going to see your beauty. This could be it. some sort of revenge murder.
Don't start me now, right, in chat. Don't start me in chat because you said, excuse my typos, my O is broken. But the correct answer is, well, we need to fix your O. Hooray. But don't start me. Don't start me. Yeah, he's failed multiple. He's failed everything. Failed marriages. Failed. Like, he's a failure. He is a failure, isn't he? I had a dream that I was a guest and I asked him a question and he didn't like it. He hung up the video connection. Once when I was distracted, when I started, Anna's looking at me now. When I started detracting Darkside Phil, I had a dream about Darkside Phil. Never tell the Darkside Phil detractors because they'll be like, what? But I told Steve. I had a dream that we were at little school and he was a kid and he was upset because people were bullying him. And I was like, and this is how I was when I was at school when I was a kid. I was like, oh, I'll be your friend if the other people are bullying you. Don't worry, sort of thing, a bit. I think, although I might have, done my fair share of calling people names at some point as well. So I won't say I was like a saint, but I'm talking about being a little kid at primary school, So I had this feeling. Anyway, it was a dream about feelings, wasn't it? This feeling of guilt about him being bullied. And I talked to Steve about it, and then we basically came to the conclusion that it's because I'm not a fucking nutter. I'm not a horrible narcissist, but Phil is. So stop feeling so guilty about him because Alan wouldn't feel guilty about me. So you know what I mean? Like I've got to remember to not have any compassion for these nutters.
Who does that? Who inflicts those injuries on this lady?
Who inflicts those injuries on this lady? People like you? I don't know, Alan. What are you trying to imply?
Why?
And why? To murder her? So they could do a. They might be angry.
There'll be loads of guys at that gym.
There'll be loads of guys at that gym. Right, well, we start there then. Alan's going to... Don't worry. American actual police. You can sit in your armchairs. This man from England's got a suggestion. Ask the people at the gym.
She's the sort of girl to catch the eye, right?
She's the sort of girl that will catch the eye. I'm sorry, Alan?
We will look deeper.
We will look deeper. You certainly will as soon as you've got off the internet, because you've got all those phone pics now, haven't you? Pics on your phone to have a look at, zoom in on, think about.
Has she got an obsessed stalker?
Had she got an obsessed stalker? And here he goes out of focus again, making him look like, well, this is awful. The filter doesn't understand focus properly, so his entire wobbly neck and lower face here all becomes face, all just blurred out face. The filter doesn't understand it properly, does it, Alan? The focus.
We all know about obsessed stalkers, don't we? Has she got...
We all know about obsessed stalkers, don't we? We do now, because you taught us all about them yesterday, about how they are the people that love the person the most. Like, could be a super fan, in a way, couldn't it? Could be a super fan. So, we all know about them.
What?
Trish says she would say she was killed by someone she knew, an intense jealousy, not a stranger. Yeah, I'm going to totally agree. I mean, also, if the murder weapon was a rock that was nearby, then this is like an argument that's broken out, isn't it? It's like an impulse action, because they hadn't walked her up there and executed her and then hidden her in the... there's a lot of reasons why it has to be not random. Like, people don't go jogging, bump into someone and say, fuck you, oh, fuck you, right, rock in the head. Yeah, it doesn't feel random as such, but yeah, it's a very personal thing to do as well, isn't it? It is a very personal thing. Like, obviously, I was joking there about being murdered, but it's. I think I remember Steve saying something about it when we were talking about serial killers, about how, like, you've got to viscerally take part in this action. You can't, from a distance, and pull the trigger. Like, this is a very raw thing to be doing. Yeah.
Could be a man or a woman.
Oh yeah, the filter at the top of the hat. He doesn't filter underneath his hat because the filter doesn't work at the top there. Yeah. But it's almost like he's put on foundation for the stream, but it's of 3 different colours because it's picking up his beard growth and colouring it in smooth grey. And then this side with the light is being illuminated on a yellow, and then he's got a more pale pink. Like, this is why my thumbnails look so good when I bloom up the colours.
It's not the sort of woman's murder, is it? To cave someone's...
It's not a sort of woman's murder, is it? You puny, pathetic women. I would tend to agree that this doesn't seem like something a woman may have done. But I don't know if the reasons that I think it are the same as Alan's, but yeah.
Helen, woman, is it possible? Possible, I suppose. Could be a man or a woman, but it's just some. Would a female leave her naked there? Is that sort of trait that a female does? Psychologically, it's very rare that a woman would kill another woman and then take all her clothes off. But
Nice that you remember that she was naked. I had forgotten that point. And apparently psychologically it's very rare, and I would agree, psychologically or not, right? Alan has no expertise in this field, but psychologically or not, it is very rare that a woman would kill someone and strip them naked. Yes, that's not a common occurrence in our society, no. So well spotted there, Alan. Big ups, Trisha. I'm sorry to hear that. That's pretty heavy. Yeah, it feels in those same sort of jealousy. This crime feels like it's in those same sort of jealousy waters, doesn't it? Horrible things to have to live through. And all the reasons why we don't like someone like Alan, because we don't see his behaviour behind the scenes with people, do we? But, yeah, narcissists, what shits.
Jealous woman, maybe? I suppose.
That sort of stuff, like, it's kind of... Like, I felt strongly about people, but like when I was a kid and like I was 16, I got pretty jealous when I was in a relationship. Like 16 to 20, I was in a relationship, and like I think because of those years, like you're sort of exploring the world as well. Like there was lots more things for me to be jealous or worried about. In the end, it didn't work out. I never did anything horrible or harmful. Like, I never like physically assaulted my girlfriend or anything like that. But I used to feel that jealousy, that anger, like who's on the phone and like, you know, stuff like that. And then after I had that experience in that relationship, I sort of said to myself, I never want to go through that again. So if I feel like that, I understand that it's a problem with me. So I better either work on that or not be around people that make me feel like that or whatever it is. And then since then, not really had that problem. Like not at all, like years, lots of different relationships. Like I think I learned as a young teenager how to handle my emotions. Like at the start, I wasn't learning very well. I was handling it badly, but I learned how to handle my emotions. And I'm not like Alan, like a compulsive narcissist. So I think things worked out quite well in the end. But I do understand the start point of the feeling jealous. But then what occurs to me is there's like a million people out there in the world. Like when I've said goodbye to someone and they've gone and like they're out of my mind now. Like I don't have to. Like, to the idea that there's this one person, if I can't have you, this one person, then that's it. It seems a bit, like, I suppose it's childish in a lot of ways, isn't it? Like, narcissists are. It's like an infantile denial. But it just, yeah, I don't know, it just seems, big ups capital K, big ups capital K. Only a million. There's only one capital K, isn't there? So, there's only one capital K. You got mod privileges. You got mod privileges. Boom. Boom. You've deserved them for years. We're throwing around mod privileges these days. I learned recently how to turn on mod privileges from in the chat, so there's a lot of people out there though. There's more than a million people, and like if you're in a relationship and it's not worked out, it seems very strange. I mean, I don't know if this is a weird point for me to have to make, but it now logically seems very strange that people should be so compelled that this one person is the be-all and end-all when there are fucking loads of other people. Like, yeah. And I hope everything's going on well with you, Trisha, yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Like, connecting with people on the internet, and Alan's this horrible shit, but like, what Alan has done, it's the same with Darkside Phil, is that Alan has grown a community of people, but he hasn't been aware that he's doing it because they're the people that don't like him and hold him up as an example of a narcissist, and the people that are gathered in that community, like people like Val, you yourself, Trisha, like they understand this because maybe some of them have lived through some of it. So yeah, it's interesting that it's just an interesting thing. Yeah, just an interesting thing. Hopefully some hopefully it's not all bad now, basically. And I like the fact that we get to see this man crumble. It's all his own doing as well.
Don't know. We wait to find out. She went to Planet Fitness.
She went to Planet Fitness. For anyone that doesn't know, right, when I first started streaming, Capital K has been watching some of my other videos in the past and was here I started streaming on Twitch about 2 years ago, and I thought I'd also do some YouTube streaming and see how it goes. And Capital K was here. He dropped a big sub bomb and got me to the point of being affiliate. And it's because of his support, and Nigel and Snippy's, but like there was a small group at the start, and Capital K and like the support, not just like financial, but like knowing someone's there listening while you're streaming when you've only got like 1 or 2 people in your stream, like having someone to interact with and be, you know, make friends and being supportive. It meant an awful lot, and it doesn't matter how far we go with this and how emotional, physical, it doesn't matter how far we go with this. And I don't think I'll ever be Ludwig or Asmongold or like, you know, super famous, but if we can get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, then 100,000, you know, get that play button. No matter how big, how far we get with it, I'll never forget and never underestimate how grateful I am for that support in those early days. So thank you, Capital K. And if anyone doesn't know it, they do now. So yeah, watch out. He can now ban you.
That's all I know. I've given you all I can. I doubt if it's a woman personally. That's just my opinion. You can have your opinion. We're going to find out more.
Are we?
That's Tuesday night over. We'll be back tomorrow on Wednesday.
That's Tuesday night over. Is that the way you approach these things, Alan? That's Tuesday night over. Glad we managed to play some videos for an hour. We might not find out more. We hope to find out more, but who knows?
Yeah, she was naked.
You're the only one that needs to get banned anyway, Capital K. You're the only one that's going to say saucy things that are so far over the edge that you need to get banned. No one needs banning. It's fine. It's only if bad trolls turn up.
It seems. But we shouldn't know that. You see, that's the trouble. The people that found her shouldn't have told us that she was hit by a rock and she was...
There is something going on with his hair under there. It looks a bit like he's got dark hair. It might just be a shade or a shadow. It might be dirt. Has he been doing something to his eyebrows? Do his eyebrows always look that dark? Am I tripping here? Do his eyebrows always look that dark?
£25. Are able to function?
Oh, they are there, but they're underneath the glasses. So it's just that he was raising them. Or do they always... He's not been dyeing his eyebrows, do you think? I'm tripping now. Maybe it's the filter. Maybe it's the filter doing that.
Naked. That's the stuff the police keep secret. Because sometimes someone comes forward and said, I did it. And I say, oh yeah, what did you do? And they say, well, I stabbed her. And I go, you're lying. But by giving out the cause of death, they've like made it very much more difficult now.
They've made it very much more difficult. If anyone comes forward and says they've done it, then they can't pin it on them because... What? No, they've made it more difficult because people might come forward and say they've done it and they know the cause of death, so they'll even, you know, so on the off chance that someone wants to come forward who is innocent and claim to have done it, that's made the police's job much more difficult. It's probably not the worst thing in the world though. They probably don't have queues and queues of people outside the police station now saying, oh, I've heard it on the news yesterday that she had her face bashed in, so here I am to hand myself in. Yeah. Join the. You're gonna have to sit in the with the interview room's full today because we've got 2 in there already that are saying they've done it, and you've turned up saying you've done it. We've got 5 more down the block. Like, join the queue, sign in. One of you's done it. So, in fact, you can all do it if you want. We'll put you all in the prison if you want. 9 up. I don't think that's the way it's working. Oh, if I ever get that play button, yeah. If I ever get that play button, yeah. If I ever. But yeah, I would be quite pleased with it, Jamie, yeah. I would. Probably be doing some crying.
Very much more difficult.
Look at his lovely complexion. Smooth as a baby's... Well, I shouldn't say that actually when I'm talking about Alan.
She was dragged off the trail into the tunnel.
Yeah.
They've not said whether she was sexually assaulted yet.
No.
All this has got to come. We haven't got the autopsy. We haven't got the cause of death.
We haven't got the cause of death, although the being bashed in the face by the rock. I mean, it could be that that wasn't the cause of death, couldn't it? It could be that wasn't the cause of death. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe they, you know, drugged her and dragged her up there and then just did that extra. I don't know why I'm having to... I don't want to speculate on this. This is not my ballpark. I don't like it. I've got to go to bed after this at some point as well. Like,
so, we need more clues. This is a case that we follow. This is a case we need to follow because there's no suspect.
This is a case we need to follow because there's no suspects. So it could drag on and on. Is that why you need to follow? I don't think this is a case you need to follow. There's no need for Alan and his 100 people in chat to follow this case. There's no need for that. And I predict that the police will close the case if they get a shred of evidence on that bloke that was up there. Oh, sorry, wasn't up there with her. Dropped her off at home and then just said, thanks, yeah, bye. I'm glad that you had me pick you up from the gym. Or even if they were at the gym together. It's been nice seeing you for just under a week. Or just over a week or whatever. Would you like to have sex? No? Okay, then I'll just go home. That sounds about right. Would you like to go for dinner or maybe go for a hike together? No. No, alright. Well, yes. After I've just been at the gym and done my salon and, you know, actually this sounds like a day, right? If I was, because I've got, you know, I know I've met some ladies. This sounds like, right, you've gone to the salon, you've gone to the gym. What you might want to do is go home, eat some nice food, sustenance after the gym, and you've had your ladies, like, you know, it's like a lady's day for herself. The salon, the gym, you know, chill. It feels like it's not automatically the next process after that to be on a date or go on a hike. It feels well more like that she might just want to chill. Sounds like somebody didn't want to chill, did they? Sounds like somebody wanted to... Anyway.
And we'll be working on this behind this.
I have a side note. Alan made the video yesterday. Why was there no video out? Was Alan hungover today? I don't know. Maybe even had a panic attack. You know, fingers crossed. I don't know. It's weird that he's not on today if he's following this case, isn't it?
Seems tired. So he might do it again tomorrow. Depends what comes out about it tomorrow. Anyway, either way, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining the Armchair Detective.
We will see you tomorrow, Alan says assertively, but no, Alan.
Thanks, Spanners, for all your help, as usual. And thanks to you guys for being a wonderful community tonight.
I love the way, like, this is part of the narcissism as well. I know that I'm talking to a small group of very nice people on the internet. Thank you for being here, of course. But it's like he's receiving an award at the end. Thank you, the Spanners, for helping out, and thank you for being such a wonderful community. Sorry? There's like 4 people allowed to chat. The other people that were there, like, there's only 4 comments on the video. The other people that were there, like, banned. Anyone says anything slightly different from what you think, banned. There's like the Spanners and 4 other people. Yeah. Such a wonderful community Alan's got. It's just funny, isn't it? It's just silly. Like, we do have wonderful communities in small pockets on the internet, but Alan's not, like, his group is not an example of it. They all came to my channel to troll me on his command. Like, the other day he put up a picture of a woman on his community post of, like, before and after makeup, and they were all like, yeah, fuck her, she's a hag. I wouldn't touch her with yours. Like, they're just lovely people, aren't they, Alan? Lovely people. I mean, we're detracting, I'm detracting, but detractors, they're bad. They're the bullies on the internet. They're the bullies. They're the bad bullies. They're making fun of me, therefore they're the bad ones. But Alan, you're the bad man. And you were rude to me, and you were mean to me. And I said, Alan, I gave you a little warning. I told you where the lines were drawn, and you stepped across them, and now your heart will be mine. Obviously not physically, obviously not literally, but yeah. I've rebranded you into a Lolcow. You are now a Lolcow. Lolcow. And we are having a lot of fun at your expense. Long may it continue.
Thanks a lot. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. No, you don't. No, you don't. Why don't